Good work, everybody.
Great fixing that. Thanks to Andre for filling in as well. Thanks to Dara for all of the news drops and the work at the board. And a big thanks to Bears versus Bulls as well. Thank you to Brendan for the open with Sharif. But now it's Joe and Sharif.
Options,
so it's
Joe.
Options Joe and Professor Sharif getting ready for Learn to Trade. Ciao. See ya.
There it is. What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade During the Midday. That's your boy, Joey Options, and I'm Sharif. And let's weasel on over to the chat. Close the older chat so we can shout out all the wonderful people joining us today. Shout out to Alexander Emard, the OG Gorev. How can we not mention the OG Gorev? We got Safe. We got Hype Fix, JF Trader, Pitchbull, Charlie Taff, the world's greatest mod, baby. We got Pillsbury. We got the Piper, Cameron, Skanda, Botrix, Sean and Neil, my favorite, other than Big Asian. Big Asian still is my favorite. T-Money, Mateus Lane, Amori, nice. Stevenson, we got ADL, baby. Adam DeLuce, the OG. We got Bax, Dingleberg, Neil Yo, Sam L, Afterstar, and Ultra 3123. Stuart and Lockup, shout out to you guys. Thanks for joining us today. Rainmaker and Diggity Jacobs. Cobra as well in the house, and shout out to Juan Padilla. We got Jag, we got Dino, we got Kiel Lin. Grateful for Bitcoin. The boys are back in town, certainly are, Sir Jimmy J and Stevenson ATN. We got Walter, Mildred Cordado. You're not going to get me with that one, Big. I'm going to read that name before I read it out again. Shout out to Jay Lee. We got Jason Raybon. We got God Sent. Believe in yourself. Long this. Elizabeth, TX Trader, JC. We got Naveen, who's calling me while I'm on the show. That really displeases me. Fonz, Scalping, Nomo, Oscarito, one of the OGs as well. Escape Planet, Casey Mint, Ned Rec. Yeah,
you get it because it was my buddy.
I miss him, dude. I haven't talked to him in a minute.
Who, Ned Rec?
No. A buddy of mine, Alfred. We used to talk about him on the show. Shout out to Dad Trader and Ron John. Shout out to Oscarito. Hope everybody's having a fantastic morning. A bit of a bamboozling morning, Joseph. We opened up like several hundred points higher on the Dow. The NASDAQ, we give it all back. By the time the bell rings, we drop. Now we're trying to go back to green. What the hell's going on here,
I know. Those flash services that came out put a little pump into the market, which was slightly entertaining. You guys, you know how it goes around here, right? You know the narrative, you know the game plan. We got a lesson today.
Sir.
So what we're going to do is we're going to go over and see what is hot and what is not, guys. So maybe a new segment there, what is hot and what is not. But here we go. So we got materials at the top of its class here, guys, up about 1.5% here on this session. So that's XLB, I believe. Yeah, XLB is materials. Industrials is sitting in second place here. So in the show, up about 0.75% there. And then we got healthcare sector up about 1/3 as well, too there, guys. So those are the three green. Well, actually, we'll go over one more because there's the consumer discretionary is up 1/4 as well, too, here, guys. So those are the four green sectors. The rest are all in red. And then we're going to go from the third last to last here. Real estate sitting in that third last spot, up about 310, down about 310. Sorry there, guys. Utilities at 1.25, and then we have energy, one of the weakest there, about 2.8% down on the session. And I know a lot of analysts were talking about energy, and it's unfortunate that it hasn't been as good of a play as some have anticipated to, especially with the narrative being drill baby drill. So maybe front running that or anything.
See where we're at today on the oil contract, bro. We're dropping below that 67 Biden level. We used to call that the Biden level because they were filling up the strategic petroleum reserve every time. Guy, we're at 65.60. We're down almost 4% on the April contract.
Tough luck.
The gas prices here better be coming down, bro. Better be coming down. All right, let's get to this lesson of the day, guys. We're continuing our discussion on the measured move. Today, we'll talk about spotting higher probability breakouts with, yes, you guessed it, the measured move. Let's do this. So breakouts can be exciting opportunities in intraday trading, but pinpointing higher probability ones can be a bit trickier. So this lesson explores how the measured move can help you identify these breakouts with greater confidence. Let's get right to it, baby. We're going to always explain things de novo and from a high level before we start. So the measured move, what is it? It's a concept that relates to price movement on volume. It suggests to you that the size of the breakout, the price move that is often proportional to the preceding trading volume. Joseph loves his volume. So we're going to be emphasizing that today. So how do we identify these breakout levels using the measured move? So first and foremost, let's talk about these support and resistance levels. So firstly, identify a key area of support or resistance on the chart. So these are areas where the price historically, if you don't know what it is, has historically bounced off or rejected off, creating temporary barriers or supports. So anytime the price comes down, say bounces off that $200 level, and it does it once and twice, and you kind of get the feeling that there is a bigger buyer at 200. Likewise, to the high side, if the price keeps rejecting 300 over and over again, whether intraday or over a multi-day basis or multi-week basis, you kind of get the feeling there's a seller at that $300 level. That's what we call support and resistance. So the first order of business for you is to identify a key area of support or resistance on the chart. Then you want to do your volume analysis. So you want to observe the volume activity trading around these levels. We're talking about the support and resistance levels. You want to see what the volume is like at that 200. You want to see what the volume is like at that 300. And you most notably, you want to take note of what kind of trading volume is there. Is a lot of buying coming in there? Is there a lot of selling? Is the buying outweighing the selling? So you're trying to do your analysis at these key levels, and most notably, you're looking at volume. So observe the volume activity around these levels. Look for a surge in volume preceding the price move towards the key areas of support or resistance. So you kind of want to get the feeling, are the buyers really, on one today? Are we going to break that 300? Are the sellers really on one? Are they really bearish today? Are we going to break down below that 200? So you're trying to kind of foreshadow what the move will be into that level based upon the volume preceding that level. So let's talk about the measured move in action. So let's talk about the breakout with the high volume. So if a price decisively breaks through that support or resistance zone accompanied with high volume, this could be a breakout signal. So projecting the move, here's where the measured move comes in. So you want to take the distance between that support and resistance, or resistance level, I should say, and the breakout point. Example, let's just say $2. So we're hanging out at $198. We know that there's a $200 resistance level that we've seen on a previous occasion. So there's a $2 difference between where the price action is right now and resistance. So you want to project this distance in the breakout direction to estimate the potential price target. So for example, if the breakout is upwards, add $2 to that breakout price. So you're looking for a $202 move. Not a hard and fast science, but as we always say, trading is more of an art than a science. Why this matters? Like, what are you using this for? So it's confirmation with volume. So you want to see the volume confirm what you perceive to be the direction of the breakout, which is, above that 300 or below that 200 that we talked about. So high volume preceding the breakout suggests increased buying or selling pressure, potentially pushing the price further in the breakout direction. And then the measured target here, the projected price based on the measured move, gives you a realistic estimate of where the price might reach, helping you set profit targets, obviously. Because sometimes, I feel like I'm flying blind a lot of the times in the trade. You're in, say, at $2, because, we trade these small cap gappers, and then the price is up to, say, $2.50, and I don't see any resistance until like $4. Well, should I wait till $4 to wet my beak on some profits, or should I be basically taking profits on the way out? My methodology in the past has been to take profits on the way out. I believe Adara does have something for us at the big desk.
I have kind of, the catalyst is it's odd, but I'm seeing it on social media, so I'll mention it regardless. There's an X account here. It's a yellow check mark X account for whatever that's worth. It's called Tesla Owners Silicon Valley. It's apparently the most notorious Tesla club in the world. So it's quite a big deal, I guess, in the Tesla space. This account posted, quote, Grok has replaced Google for me. So this should not be shocking because Elon Musk runs Grok. Of course, Tesla owners would be associated with Grok potentially because Tesla CEO Elon Musk also runs XAI, which runs Grok. But regardless here, it is worth noting this headline is being circulated on X, this Tesla owners group on X, saying that Grok has replaced Google for them. GOOGL, kind of chilling on this, guys, but interesting note to be aware of. Back to you.
Dara, so let's continue on the lesson. We don't have much here. So the measured target, what we're talking about here is the projected price based on the measured move. It gives you realistic estimates of where the price might reach, which obviously helps you with your profit targets. And here's what we're talking about over here. Here's a graphic showing confirmation with the measured move breakout. You're looking always for volume above that specific level. This is a bull move, obviously. Some important considerations to keep in mind when you're using this. False breakouts are an ever-present danger in trading, full stop. Not all breakouts with volume are successful. Sadly, the price can sometimes fake a breakout and then reverse back down. How many of us have seen that? Throw your hand up. I'm pretty sure everybody's seen that. Neil has his hand up. Joe has his hand up. It always happens, baby. All right? Use additional confirmation signals. What do you got there, Neil? No, we can pause the lesson. There's food on the table here, babe.
What do you got there? Pull it up there.
All right, Ram.
Now we're ready.
Oh.
This is the salad today.
Hey.
It's hard to tell because I don't it's like seasoned chicken.
Seasoned chicken, he's saying.
It's weird because I got rice. I feel like rice.
Okay, all right. Neil's mic is not working, guys. Sorry about that. It's seasoned chicken, and it looks awfully good. Thank you, Neil, for making us feel bad that we can't eat for a few hours. I know, I'm kidding, of course. So false breakouts are an ever-present danger when we're trading, guys. Not all breakouts with volume are successful. Sadly, the price can sometimes fake a breakout in reverse. Use additional confirmation signals like these moving averages, price patterns, RSI, stochastics, whatever you use to help support your theory. So you're looking for confirmation from other technicals. I hope I made that quite clear. And then you should always consider the market context, right? Consider the overall market sentiment. A strong breakout during a bullish trend is more likely to find a follow-through compared to a breakout, not a breakdown, during a consolidation phase or a downtrend. Like you heard the Katina man today say in basically umpteen amount of times that he wasn't feeling that the market was very bullish. It ended up moving up anyway, but he had a feeling because the market was selling off aggressively into the open. So keep that all in mind, put everything in context. So let's put it all together. Step one, you identify areas of support and resistance with high volume activity around those levels. That's step one. Step two, you're looking for a decisive break above or below support and resistance with volume. Underline that, with above average volume. Okay. Step number three, you're projecting the measured move distance to estimate the potential price target. So you're looking from where the price action is versus where the resistance level is, and then if you get a breakthrough resistance, you're looking to measure, or you're looking to basically project that upward from the breakout or breakdown level. And then step number four, combine this move, the measured move that is, with other technical indicators and the market context at large for a more robust trading strategy. I hope everybody, except a few people there in the chat that I don't care for, prints up a storm.
You know what I mean?
I gotta throw shade, baby.
You gotta throw some shade, man. You don't know, but it's all love, baby. Yeah, it's all love,
I'm just
man.
doing it to elicit responses. I don't feel that way.
Baby. You can never feel that way.
What you got over there, though?
So this is what this is the game plan here, all right, guys? So let's dive into, we'll figure that out later, Ram. Let's dive into what we can potentially do here. So as you can see, guys, Apple is gonna run into a support level right now. It's been touched multiple times already on this intraday chart. So what are we going to do? If we breach with momentum to the downside, and volume, then we're going to enter. But right now, I want to wait for a pullback as this underlying looks like it potentially can, right? So that's what we want to do. And then once you have those multiple tests and then you look for that break, then it's essentially just a trade to the next support level, okay, or the possible resistance. I don't want to chase it at the break of this support level. Why? Because we can bounce. And history from an intraday standpoint has proven that we've already bounced off of that level 3 times. So how many more times are we going to bounce until we eventually break? You can see that the overall market sentiment is weak, and then that's what we want to be able to establish and say, hey, okay, Is this name ready to short? You can, if we want to take a couple steps back here and see what we got going on, you can see that the 5-minute opening drive, relatively weak. It puts in an indecision candle, but then a nice clean 5-minute orb to the downside. I talk a lot about the 5-minute opening range breakouts because a lot of traders use them. So what we can do here to mark them out is that every morning, and I do this on my own, and you can just do it from a visual standpoint as well too, right? So I go from a 1-minute and a 5-minute opening range break. So what am I going to do here? We can just mark out the range of this 5-minute candle. And then you can use that as a line in the sand and then play the break of it in either direction. I know a lot of traders that I used to work with when I was at home love this system, and they're highly successful of that. So what you do now is you have a definitive range and you have a line in the sand to play something off, just like the volume weighted average price. And that's where you can get those 5-minute orb trades really, really nice and get that continuation to whatever direction you decide or the price action decides it wants to go. So now you can see that this pullback here was slightly micro, and it looks like we're gonna head down relatively sooner than what I thought. What I was looking at was here, okay, have the inability to establish a new high, come around the 232 level, and then head back south. And that's what I want to do. So I'm going to go over, all right, so I'm going to take a step back here as well. Cameron Lum says, Joe, what is a 5-minute orb? So I just went over that. A 5-minute orb is a 5-minute opening range, okay? So you use that 5-minute candle, and then you play the break of that 5-minute candle. Am I missing something in my ear?
No.
Oh, okay, all right. Okay, yeah, okay.
Yep.
So yeah, that's essentially what it is, right? And we can use it we can utilize it in a 1-minute perspective as well too. That is a little bit more difficult, and I suggest that you have a little bit more experience under your belt when you're playing the 1-minute orb. Start with the 5-minute, play the opening ranges, and then you can use that specific candle for many reasons, right? You can have it as a stop loss, and you can have it as an entry parameter as well too. So just keep that in mind. And that's what we're going to do here on Apple. It looks like we're going to break this support level, and now I'm going to take it to the short side, Sharif.
All right, we're in MLGO and we're in edit. Let's talk about MLGO because we're already extracting some profits on this one. Initially entered at 77s, wet the beak all the way up there into 85s. It did dip into my already waiting resting order at 70. So I got the ad at 70. Now we've got a double bottom for the moment, underline that, for the moment at $4.70. Let's see if this one holds. I'm waiting up here at 78. So it's showing me, there we go. Now we got the print, and then we got another print right there. Okay, good look right now on MLGO. So if I can flip to the 1, you can see this a little bit better. So there's the initial entry, scalp, 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 add into the previous area of support, scalp, scalp to the high side. Let's flip back to the 5. MLGO is a holdover from yesterday. We were trading this sucker yesterday, and it's up another 15 2/3 on the day. So let's give this one the old community college try. See how we do with this one. So we're at 75s. Let's sit here at 82s because I'm born in 82 and I'm kind of superstitious. So we're going to wait over here, and let's see if we can scalp all these orders to the high side. All those red lines right there, those are resting profit takers. The reason I use that with these small cap gappers is because I'm old and I'm slow. So I can't enter the orders quick enough. So I got to get the computer to help me out, and it fills it for me if the price reaches that level. All right, so we're doing well here on MLGO. Now, the one we're not doing that well on, let's call a spade, is edit. Now, this one was a rounding top into exactly 2 1/4. It comes down into the volume weighted average price, and that's where I got in. It doesn't look like it wants to hold. I'm 2 pennies out of the money on this monster. We'll see if it wants to weasel back, Joe. I layered my orders here for a pop-up, but this one is a VWAP retracement trade. If VWAP gets me into the trade, if VWAP should get me out, I won't trade this below VWAP. I'm not going to break my rules today, so anything below 208, we got stopped out, and then we'll look to something else. Back to MLGO, we got another print there to the high side as it popped up into 84s. I've still got 3 unfilled trades to the high side over here. Let me tell you though, the 10 exponential on MLGO is at 2/3. It's at 66s, but you can see here the support level is 70s. So my move is I'm getting out below 70, all right? And that doesn't mean that the trade is over. I'm going to get out the whatever I've got left below 70 because I don't want to hold this against me and have to DCA when I don't want to DCA, when they weren't planned. So anything below 70 stops me out, but we'll keep an eye on the 10 exponential, and we'll also keep an eye on the volume weighted average price right around 460, 458. The reason I like that level, 450, Yeah, 458, 460 is because it's in addition to it being VWAP, there is price action support there. What do I mean by that? Like, look at this consolidation area. I perceive this to be a bull flag. We get that big boy move up. We have that kind of sideways movement for this one looked like about 15 minutes. And then we got another big boy move. So if there is consolidation here, there just might be support at that level. So I'll get stopped out below 470. I'm going to move up my stop. It's already at 465. And then if it breaks down below that, Joseph, we'll have to reassess whether this is a valid trade or not. What do you got, my man?
Bang, yeah, nice. We're in this Apple short here, guys.
Bang.
It looks like the market wants to bleed a little bit. I'll talk about this Nvidia trade shortly after we just go over what we got cooking up here in Apple. So I mentioned that we're going to play the break of those support levels, and we waited for that pullback. Now it looks like it wants to go into that 230.60 level. So we're going to hold off. The market is extremely weak right now. So if these big names start to drag it down, then we're going to be looking half decent as we continue to bleed right here. Let's go ask me a pretty good question. It says, if I do a covered call, can it help protect me from losing money if I go red on a position? Yes. Just always keep in mind that when you are selling options, it will never equate to the amount that a stock appreciation is. It's just used to hedge and mitigate losses, all right? So that's what you want to use. You want to go as far out the money, collect some premium, and then allow yourself to just reduce that short-term downside in your underlying asset. So hopefully that helped you. Again, it's not going to cover everything, but it'll take a nice little chunk out of it, like 10, 15, 20% of what you may have unrealized in a loss. It can reduce that. So that's the whole point of covered calls, is just to relieve that short-term loss a little bit. Okay, guys, so keep that in mind. Here we go. We are bouncing, continuing to bounce here in AAPL. Are we going to break this support level? Maybe, possibly. We want to see that volume really start to kick in here with this name in order for us to continue this southeast trajectory, guys. But let's take a look at what I was cooking up here on Nvidia. And it's unfortunate that it didn't work out, but that's okay, because we got out when we were supposed to. So what we have here is we're just going to draw these basic trend lines, do some basic TA here on this name. And what I was looking for is volume to step in at the break of these lower highs here, and then we can continue and maybe go and test the high day. That hasn't been the case so far. You can see that we rejected the trend line multiple times, but it was slightly adjusted before that. So we sat on top of it above the volume weighted average price. So I took it. We got a nice little move, and then I should have been out at the break of VWAP, but then I got right back in, and then sure enough, we took another leg down. And that's why you get out of trades when it's time, right? Because imagine I was holding onto this position all the way down there. That'd be a $2 loser, and then to kind of recover from that loss is slightly difficult, all right? Especially when the market is moving sideways, moving eastward, and not necessarily in a definitive path, right? We can pull up the cues and see what we got going on from that standpoint, and you can just see that all these candles are overlapping each other, and then you get a little bit of a break to the downside, but this is tough. So what you want to do, me specifically as a breakout trader, is you want to avoid all this noise and then wait for the volume to step in and then break through key support or resistance levels and start to participate in that aspect. But here, for me, as a breakout trader, as I just mentioned, is that these overlapping candles is like, okay, yeah, you're up one, up down. They're all inside of each other. It can get a little bit of messy and more difficult. So range trading, absolutely what you want to do is sell the tops and buy the lows. But as a breakout trader, I'm looking for that to break through key levels. So now let's get back into Apple before we send it back to my guy real quick. Yeah, app loving it. Yeah, exactly. So here we go, guys. We're starting to head a little bit more south here on Apple. It was holding up relatively strong, and I mentioned to Sharif, it's like, okay, there might be some loopholes for the iPhone around these tariffs that can benefit and continue to hold it up steady, but then it's just put in some relatively weak sessions, which is unfortunate. But here we go. We're heading to the south side. We're going to start to take some off in this trade here. Sharif.
All right. Shout out to Tisha. CDXC. Oh, baby. Beautiful upward move, man. It's just up and to the dang right. It's not even pulling back. Let's do a little bit of charting because Tisha says this is a blue sky setup, which is just, you know, a trading euphemism for never seen this high before. CDXC is a ticker. Let's go to the daily and see what's what. That's a meaningless tautology, but that's kind of what I do. No, we are not in a blue sky setup. We're very close, Tisha, because we haven't been up in these levels since 21, so 4 years deep now, maybe a little bit less, maybe 3.5 years. But the weekly, we didn't split before that. So this thing went nuts during the pandemic. It looks like it went all the way up into 25, but we know what the pandemic plays are like, right? A lot of stuff was inflated during the pandemic. A lot of stimmy money was finding its way around everywhere. So people are throwing that into the market and inflated all these prices. We're going to analyze this bad boy a bit more when we get back from Adara at the big desk.
We do the money talks, of course. I thought right now, though, it might be a little bit interesting because I just saw a little bit of a note about the euro. Why don't we do a little bit of a foreign currency minute? I'll come up with a better name for this segment. Given everything, thank you for the support there, Sharif. Given everything that's going on with tariffs, I think it's worth noting here to check in on how some of these names are doing. So here's the Mexican peso to the USD. Obviously, I had a bit of a downtrend, but this is the daily chart. A little bit of a bottoming situation happening yesterday on Tariff Tuesday. We actually got a bit of a bottoming tail on this chart. Nice green day today as well. So that is the peso. Let's take a look at the Canadian dollar as well to the USD. So yesterday, nice strong look, a bit of a double bottom, both short term and if you even want to look at it longer term here for the Canadian dollar to the USD. But today, bit of an interesting look. We get this wick higher into this 0.7 area. Then we pull back a little bit, currently red on the day. So here's the CAD to USD. But before I send you guys back, I want to actually show you guys the relationship in the Forex land that made me interested in this segment in the first place. I got a note here about the euro hitting a 4-month high versus the US dollar. It is worth noting here, we don't have tariff talk necessarily as of right now between the US and Europe to my knowledge, but this is a nice breakout here for euros. We got increasing volume as well. This is a 3-day winning streak, and we're actually trying to push through this previous support going back to October 2024, then again in August 2024. So can we break out of this double bottom area of support turn resistance? We'll have to wait to find out, but that is my Forex Minute. Back to the Bash Brothers.
Great look there, Dara. Interesting look between the euro and the euro dollar and the US dollar. I always forget that the euro is actually a dollar.
Yeah, wow.
But nobody calls it that. You call it the euro. Look, man, I don't know if Donald Trump is displeased about this. He's made his views very well known that he wants a weaker U.S. dollar to increase exports. Obviously, with a stronger currency, harder to export as others buying with foreign currency got to pay up a little bit more. Yeah. So we'll have to see how that all works out. I don't know if this is part of his plan or anything.
I was watching some stuff last night, Sharif, and you know how this tariff game is going. It's like 25%, 25%. Everywhere, everybody gets a little bit of a tariff. What's stopping countries from going to find a free trade partner?
There's nothing.
Exactly.
But so when you're Canada and you want to diversify your free trade, great question. So what are your options, Joseph? Right. You want to go to Europe?
Right.
Europe.
I
know we have a lot of viewers from there, but I don't really see them as economically robust in the way that the States are. I mean, just have a look at GDP growth between Europe as a bloc and the United States from 2008, from the financial crisis onwards. They diverged, Joseph. So where else are you going to go? You're going to go to Asia? Well, then you got beef with a lot of these Asian countries. Specifically, I'm talking about Russia. I'm talking about China. What's the deal? Where are you going? Where are the buyers?
That's a very valid question. But then I guess it comes to the job of whoever's working for the country. You go, okay, yeah, we got 25% tariffs, but what if transportation costs is relatively cheaper to go farther out seas than coming in, paying the 25% tariff, right? So it's like, okay, yeah, we're going to change up our trade partner. It may cost us a little more in transportation, but it's not 25% more.
Yeah, I get that, and that makes absolute sense, especially if transportation costs down. I'm talking about the buying power, the veracity of the consumer. I don't think it's the same. They're not. The same. You know what I mean?
The consumption isn't. The consumption isn't as much. Yeah, for sure. But I mean, I was listening some stuff, and it's not good, right? You want to build a good rapport with your trade partners. You know that Canada and U.S., we've been partners for a long, long time, hundreds of, whatever it may be, 100 years or whatever. So you want to continue with that. But again, for me, it's like, okay, you're going to charge me 25%. I'm going to take my business elsewhere if I can, and that's simple. So yeah, that's just how I thought.
All right, let's talk about MLGO because I got a couple of prints to the high side, but this is why small cap gappers are a dangerous bunch. We were about to break this 88s, which is where I was waiting. In fact, we got 88s on the bid, and then we wiped down literally every single level from 88 down into 72 in a half second. That's how these guys, they live their life like this, 1 second at a time. I'm talking about these small cap gappers. They can change their tune in a hot second. So I've got 3 more outs left on this bad boy, but that same buyer at 70 looks like they stepped up again, despite the fact that we wicked all the way up from 88s, or it looks 87s maybe, and then it dipped right down into 70. Now that's a quadruple bottom on MLGO on the 5-minute chart at 80 pennies. At 70 pennies, excuse me, I misspoke, at 70 pennies. So an interesting look here. I mean, I perceive this to be the formation of yet another bull flag, and not all bull flags are created equal. Some take longer to form than others. We'll see if this one wants to hold up. This area right here on MLGO seems to me like an epic tug of war between buyers and sellers right now, where we try to break that high of the day at around 90 pennies, weaseling up to the high 80s. And then we're smacked with a huge sell order that takes out all the levels all the way down into the low 70s. And then now we're kind of equidistant between the high and the low right now, hanging out in the high 70s, low 80s. So I don't know what to think. I'm just going to leave my orders the way they are. I still got the beak wetter hanging out at 88s. I still have my stop at Scotia below 70. So that's the situation on MLGO. Doing well on it, but would like definitely to do a bit better with a high day break. Now, the one I'm not doing well on, EDIT, I got stopped out. Not big loss here, but a 5-penny loss, but a loss nonetheless. Now, this one simply was a VWAP retracement, looking for the bounce off VWAP. It didn't come, so I'm not going to fight it and, take it with offense that it didn't bounce out VWAP. I'm out of the trade. I'm going to look for the next bad boy. And something tells me it may be something to do with CDXC. This bad boy is still putting in higher highs and higher lows on the 5. Let's talk about it. I was supposed to chart this, and then Adara had breaking news, so we couldn't do it. Let's do it right now. So here's what I'm seeing, guys. As you know, if you've been watching the show for a hot minute, the solid green line on my black charts will always be the 10 exponential moving average, and that's what we're getting right here. Every single dip into the 10 is getting bought up. Now, you're not having the same type of upward strength as you had earlier in the trading day, which is normal because now we're in the slower part of the day. But I like something here, high 80s, maybe even high 70s. If we get a quick wick below the 10 exponential, it looks like we are certainly having trouble with 9. I mean, we've been above 9. The high of the day is 918, but we're not getting that decisive break and that follow through or that continuation above $9. So, I will be a little bit, conservative with how I enter onto this one. Let's go ahead and get a couple of shares over here. We're going to start small off with this one, and I don't mind DCAing into the mid 80s. Let's go ahead and actually do just that. So we're long 94s. Let's go ahead and sit at 89s, and then simultaneously we'll put something for a pop-up up here. So then we'll go like that, and then we'll go like this, set some beak wetters in case this bad boy pops up. We want to extract some profitability. So I'm layering my orders on CDXC. Shout out to Tisha, who's absolutely killing it on this one today. Small cap gapper trader, Tisha Dang Perkins.
Dang.
Get it, Tisha.
Get it, Tisha. Let's go here in Apple, guys. We're breaking through those key support levels that I mentioned before, and then now we're heading to the downside, and we're just piecing this out as the market wants to trade lower and lower here, guys. Really weak stuff. Apple super weak. I'm wondering if there's any news on that. I know Adara will bring it to it if there is, but I think it just might be regular price action. But that's all right, guys. We're going to continue to bleed in that volume. You can see here, guys, on the lower time frames is really starting to pick up. So really good look there. We're out about 60% of the positions, so we don't have too much left, and we're going to look to see if we can continue to drag lower. 229 may be in the works for today on AAPL there, Sharif. So we'll hold on to that. But guys, I want to mention something here. So you can see that we have a heightened VIX, right? So we haven't seen these levels in the VIX since December of last year, which is only, I guess, only 4 months ago or anything along those lines. But this is what you need to be aware of, all right? So when you're trading from an intraday perspective, and the volatility in the overall market is heightened, what you need to do now is, like, if you find yourself getting stopped out a lot, what you got to do is you got to widen that stop and reduce size. And in this current market environment, that's what I believe you need to do, all right? So wider stop, it's something that I personally even needed to adjust it to. It's like those 10, 15, 20 cent stops aren't working anymore. You got to widen that stop, and then lower your share count to a certain extent as well too. But then you also have the ability to add in. We're going to talk more about just stop placement and volatility in the market right after we get back from Midday.
With regards to Apple, I didn't see any news on it, but it is worth noting around 9 a.m., so half an hour before the open, they did announce their new M3 Ultra. So this could be a bit of a sell the news event for Apple. Anything that would be speculation because we don't have any news on it. But I did want to remind anyone in case you missed it, right at 9 a.m., Apple announces their new M3 Ultra product here with their M3 chip. Back to you.
Yeah, and I'm just reading some things in the chat here, guys. Tisha said she took a tough loss, unfortunately. That's okay. I know you'll bounce back. You're here every day, and it just happens. It happens to the best of us. That's a part of the game that you can't avoid, unfortunately. But one thing you can avoid, actually, though, Sharif, is outsized losses, all right? So there's only so many outcomes that can happen in this market. You can break even. You can lose small, you can lose big, and the inverse of that, right? You can win small, and then you can win big, essentially. So just try to keep those losses relatively small, and then you'll be way better off because the next day it's like, oh, okay, I took an outsized loss, but then the next day you have a stellar day, and you're like, oh, okay, well, maybe if my loss yesterday wasn't so big, my day would be 2 times better than what it was. So just keep those losses small, widen that stop, but we are continuing to bleed here in AAPL here, Sharif, down about 2.4%, 2.6%, sorry, guys, and continuing to the southeast, 229, my next target.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's the way it is. If you don't, if you can't handle the markets, don't invest. So MLGO continuing to dance. I'm long CDXC at 70s. I got a bit of a VWAP dip. It didn't quite make it down into VWAP, but that's where my stop placement goes. So let's see if we can pop back up. We're about a couple of pennies out of the money here, showing, well, 4 pennies out of the money, showing me 66s. Looking for a bounce up, layering my orders on this bad boy, looking to catch something to the high side. The aggressive selling came through that break of 9, but it's still above VWAP, still above the 20. Let's see if it holds up at this area. Back to MLGO. We only got a few more outs on this bad boy, but it is coming back down into that 70 penny area. And as I mentioned earlier, we've been kind of really defending 70 pennies as a major level of support, at least since 11 o'clock. So the better part now of 35 minutes has been this 70 penny area. So let's see if we can continue to bounce off this area. Now, mind you, I've been watching it bounce off 70, but I haven't added. So I'm just questioning myself here. Is that a lack of conviction in the trade, or am I just not accustomed to adding to these winning positions? So let's go ahead and do that. It's going to obviously throw off my cost base a little bit, but that's exactly what I'm going to do. So we're going to throw that in there, see if we can get something bouncing back up here on MLGO, take advantage of this 70 penny hold. Yeah, this $4.70 area, waiting at 71s. Let's see if we get the fill. Let's go back to CDXC. So this one's still zigging and zagging in the low 60s. So we're 10 pennies out of the money on this one now. It's either going to hold VWAP or I'm getting out. VWAP right now, I perceive that to be around 43s. So low 40s, low to mid 40s right now on CDXC. Let's see if this area wants to hold, and then does it bounce back up, or do we get consolidation to no end? Okay, so we got the fill on MLGO. Let's wait here for a beak wetter. Let's see if we can take out some over here. How many shares do we have? There we go. We got a nice dip trade and a nice bounce back up, quick as you like. Happy about that. Let's go ahead and wait up here as well. Let's see if we can get even more. This is now a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 5-minute candles have been defending off this 470 area. Bizarre. But yeah, profitable. So let's see exactly what else is going on. Guys, I also want to mention Astis. So this is one, we were trading this one yesterday towards the end of the show. It did well yesterday. Kind of, you can see the initial bull flag there, then some more continuation to the high side. Today, I perceive us to be bull flagging again, well above VWAP. It's a bit more of an expensive name, obviously $32 and change for a small cap gapper, but we are putting higher lows. We've defended VWAP. It looks like we're defending $32, give or take, with the lower wicks, you know, going into that 32 mid-teens, give in and around that area. So ASTS certainly in focus, at least for me today. We'll be looking to build a position on this one if it does dip into VWAP, Joseph.
Yeah, good luck there, my guy. So we're still holding on to this. If we come back and test this zone and have the inability to crack through, then I believe that can be another potential add. And as my good buddy Obi says, our good buddy here says, what is the trade within the trade? And then you can find those positions to add. So words of wisdom there for Obi. Yeah, Derek likes that one too, guys. So Good stuff there. We're holding on to this. I'm going to go over this NVDA here. I talked about it a little bit. It is just chopping around, and it's tough to sit through this stuff, right? So again, I mentioned if you're going to be a breakout trader, kind of like myself, then this isn't ideally what you want to be looking at, right? You want to find stocks with a definitive trend and et cetera, right? You get that volume stepping in and everything along those lines, all those criteria that you need, but you can see all the overlapping, like I mentioned here in the index, and then now you break through the base, but then you're just kind of back right into that range. So it can happen with these names. They start to move sideways, especially when they've been in play for an extended period of time. But whatever you guys are looking at, just put it in the chat and we'll go over it. And then we're going to talk a little bit more options as well, too, because I want to refer to some things that I was talking about yesterday on Gamma and how that can kind of reflect your options writing. And what I mean by options writing is selling. And I found that, like, okay, even though it may be as simplistic, until you build yourself a large enough data set, and you don't really, and you won't really understand until you've gone through that experience. But I found a way that I can reduce my gamma exposure, and I talked about it yesterday. And why do I want to reduce my gamma exposure? Because it's going to stop the fluctuation of those contracts. So you have a less probability of finishing in the money when you are writing, and that's exactly what we're looking for. So what I'm starting to implement is extremely further date. I'll write something that's extremely farther out. Instead of doing weeklies, you can do bi-weeklies and even monthlies. And then when you get into that weekly zone, you just close that position and roll it over again. So that's been working out. I have a thesis built on Amazon, and I'm glad that it is panning out. So, and you don't get that crazy contract fluctuation that I'm referring to. And when you write, you can be in and out of the money and like down on a position relatively quick when those gamma levels are extremely high, all right, guys? So keep that in mind. LAZR, okay, we're going to go WAG Hannah, we're going to go over LAZR for you, but I'm going to ask you one time and one time only. Please don't spam the chat like that. Unless we ask a question, and then you can spam it all you want. But here we go on Luminar Technologies here, guys. Let's see what we got going on from a daily standpoint. It's looking pretty good, but it doesn't seem like the most liquid stock here from an intraday perspective. Really nice session yesterday, to be honest with you. Broke through VWAP. You get that curl over here, guys, and then you get that continuation to the top side, breaking through some pre-market highs and et cetera on this name. But now pulling back a little bit. This is still healthy, but the liquidity is going to be an issue on this name, Sharif. I don't know how you feel about that, but that's the look of it. But we're going to zoom out here and see what we got going on from a daily standpoint. And yeah, see, here we go. Luminar Technologies, not a good look from a technical standpoint, but what I'm going to do here before I send it back to my guy is we're going to pull it up here from an overview and see what it actually does. Oh, a laser. Freaking lasers. All right.
Yes, Joseph. That was really good, man. All right, I appreciate that.
So here we go. Luminar Technologies with about $167 million market cap there. It's a global automotive technology company which is engaged in a vehicle safety and autonomy. All right, very interesting. So I think the world is definitely leaning towards that there. As of right now, it's not the play. Be a little bit more patient. If you're in this long term, it might take some time to get to where you want to go.
And no news, Neil, by the way. And not that we can see anyway. MLGO looks like it's going to flat bottom break through 70. I mean, I've accounted for that already. We got a couple of more out, few more outs. But I'm very proud of how I traded this over here. CDXC, I took it all the way from 63s all the way up into 90s. We're still holding a little bit of a piece. I'm looking to front run 9. I said 90. Yeah, 90 pennies, excuse me. I'm 80.90. So now I'm looking to front run $9 as well as I'm waiting at 905 and then 8.99 and 905. And then we're going to wait above the high of the day. So let's see if we can get a bounce. We got a double bottom on the 5 at around 8.50 or so. So it looks like the buyers were defending the $0.50, pardon me, on CDXC. So let's see if this one wants to continue to the high side. Please just dang punch with this trade, okay? It's a strong one. Get it, Adara. I appreciate your support. So we're going to continue to watch. Whatever, bro. You know who's yelling "get it" at people who have no idea what the hell's going on? Patty, because he's always watching the show and we're always yelling like, "get it." Yeah, he's like, I've been yelling "get it" to everybody.
We need the animation.
Yeah, but the production team now, you know, they're a little backed up, Joseph,
they're a little backed up.
with the new filming and stuff like that.
Right,
so we
maybe I'll come over there and we can make one there.
Yeah. She looks very busy eating her food. Andre, we know, is very busy.
Guess what? You know what?
I see Andre working all the time.
No, hold on here. Just pause for a minute here. No more snacks in the fridge, please, please, please. I can't help
happened,
myself.
Joseph? You're
I've seen
eating
the
too much
Kit Kat. I took a piece of it. If they're there, I'm gonna eat it. So it's just, yeah. So it's just
He takes
best to
Ram
avoid
Ram's
them.
Kit Kats?
Yeah. I mean, hey, man. The
And I told him to take her energy drinks too, but
tax,
you know,
I don't drink that
hasn't
stuff,
happened
man.
yet,
We'll call it the
I told
Joseph
Adara
tax,
to take
man. We
her
got to get
energy
those
drinks.
stuff.
I know
We can't-
Adara loves her energy drinks.
And the way, no, Ram, we got to break the Kit Kat a little cleaner because
Yeah.
you know what I mean, though.
Ram, you can't make it that hard
you know what
for
I mean? Don't
everybody.
it's like broken. It's like half of it's still left on there and everything. I'm like, man, you know what I mean? So let's get a clean break
Good
here. You know what I mean?
times. Killing me, guy. All right, guys. So I guess MLGO didn't break, and boom, we take out 80s again. We took out 75. We took out 80s. Now we're waiting at 84s, and then I'm waiting at the high of A. So MLGO, guys, continues to bounce off 70. There is somebody buying up a storm on MLGO at $4.70. How long does this hold for? I'll submit to you, it's been holding on for 45 minutes because this level's been defended since 11 o'clock. So now we're above 80s. Now I'm waiting at 84s. It's showing me 83s. Let's see if we can get the print. Ram's killing me, bro. Yay, there's Patty.
Where is he? Where is he?
He's texting me. He texts
he's
me,
texting
right?
me? Oh, I thought he
right
put it
away.
in the chat.
Anytime he has anything to say, he just texts. He doesn't bother with the chat.
he's
You know, he
fast,
gets direct
man.
access.
You're fast,
He's BPI,
man.
baby.
BPI.
Big Patty Ice. We miss him around here. Sorry, Pat, I wasn't able to be there on Friday, but you know, the work calls. Anyway, Joseph, we're still waiting here on CDXC. Here we go. We're knocking on the door of 90s now. 90s has been a bit of a local resistance level here on CDXC. I'm talking about $8.90. That's my best print there so far. We reject, go back down to 70s. And now we're knocking on that 90 door again. Let's see if they open up this time. I'm still waiting in front of 9 and then after 9. Joseph Wilson, what do you got?
Hey, yeah, still cooking up here, man. I'm just chefing it up here, Chef Joe, wherever he is. But I know there's already one in the chat, so and he's already been on the show. So yeah, interesting stuff. But here we go, guys. Continuing to bleed here in AAPL 229. Geez. Anyways, bless you. Yeah, bless you. Yeah. 229.42. We're in at 231 here, so we're knocking on that door of that $2 club. Here in AAPL, we only got one more out, guys, and then we're going to run out of shares, and then we got to find something else to trade here. But it's looking really, really weak. What I do want to stick to is in-play stocks, and that's something we'll have more of a definitive direction. We know that we are pretty much through earnings now. We're on the tail end of it anyways, so all the big names have reported. CrowdStrike was yesterday as well, too. They lowered the full-year guidance, but now the stock is bleeding. They're still getting a little bit banged up from that outage that they had earlier in mid last year, I believe it was. And it cost them around $20-30 million, I think, roughly. So not a good look here. Running into some support levels. I do like this candle, but the thing is the overall market sentiment isn't too strong. So Gorev, if you're listening, it's like we're not getting those continued bounces. Well, when we get those bounces, there's not much continuation within them, and we need to keep that in mind. If we do close as this hammer, I'll still be really, really patient. A good friend of mine actually sold a boatload of puts on this name on that outage back when it happened. Let's see if we can find it here. Yeah, so, this is the outage day, I believe, here, guys. And then, just sold some puts and made some good money on them after it continued to bleed and sold more. And then eventually it bounced. But it took some time. I don't think that this is a great name, right? Like, this is still cybersecurity. And there's more people on the internet, whatever it may be. A lot of these large corporations need it. So maybe the full year isn't the best look, but I think it will start to pick up some steam eventually, and that's going to be the thesis in this name, but I'm not going to try to chase it or anything along those lines. It was down 10% or so after hours, and now recovering. We do have a nice bottoming signal here, but now we're just chopping in this range, so I'm going to wait for it to break and find a specific direction. Sure.
All right, Joseph, well, we're still in the same position we have been since we spoke last. We are still rejecting $80.90 on CDXC. We're also rejecting high 70s, low 80s on MLGO. I've been waiting at 84s. I'm not asking for much here, but neither has gone printed. So 84s, still an elusive level for MLGO, at least recently. Showing me 81s right now on the ask, 80 on the bid. You got to admire that, a 1 penny spread on a name that's done about 3.1 million shares on the day. It's only $4, so that's not even that many shares having been churned. I didn't give you guys any of the details on these bad boys boys, and I do apologize for that. So let's talk about CDXC first and foremost. 4.53% of the 50-ish million share float is borrowed for short. So convoluted statement there, 49.3 million share float, of which 4.5%, a little bit more, is borrowed for short there. So let's keep an eye out on that one. Not the biggest short float, nor the smallest float in general on that one. When we talk about MLGO, here's the details. Boom on MLGO, we take out that level, Joseph Wilson, and there we take out the high. Hey,
whoa,
there we go, baby. Let's see. Oh
no, what happened?
We finished all the shares.
Oh no,
yeah, that's okay. It always happens to me. MLGO, 4.58 million share float, so a very nice small float, of which a sizable percentage is borrowed for short. About 21.33% of the 4.58 million is being borrowed for short. I'm talking about micro algo, MLGO. This bad boy has a higher short float, which helps us as traders, right? Because we're looking for that intraday volatility, that parabolic move to the high side. And when you have two specific things here that I like for these aggressive moves. A smaller float, so not that many shares outstanding in the market. That increases the demand and decreases liquidity. So there's a lot of demand and a lot of chop and churn. So that's one. Two, when you have a higher short float as well, you assume that shorts who are out of the money may cover, and if they do, then you get that kind of parabolic move to the high side, because then you get double buying. You get the shorts covering, which means that they're buying, and then you actually have people who are actually buying intraday or whatever that add to the effect to the upside. So those are the two pieces that I typically look at. It's not an exhaustive list or an exclusive list or anything like that, but those are generally the things I look at. So MLGO, sadly, we're done this trade over here. Should have been more alive to the top break, but I traded this one less than optimally. I'll look to do better next time. But we do have a decent trade on it so far. Now, the one that we're currently involved in, CDXC. This is concerning me now with respect to this 90 area. $8.90 seems to be this kind of flat top from which we aren't breaking. Now, there's a couple of things that I want to say here that maybe, a little good, a little bad. We are putting in higher lows on this move up. So we dipped into 860. That's where I bought up. And then we have these higher lows all the while, higher low, higher low, higher low with this flat top. Typically, that means that we resolve in the direction of the trend. What's up?
No, nothing.
Yeah. Well, typically, that means we resolve in the direction of the trend. But that's not always the case, especially, when you're, I hate to call it like this, but I feel like when I trade these small cap gappers during the midday, I'm picking up the scraps. They have their best move, typically in the pre-market, the ones that, continue subsequent to the bell. And then we're on the midday, and then I got to pick them up off support levels, right? And then look for bounces or hope it bounces. So we'll see if this one has more in the tank. And, to be quite honest with you, MLGO just showed it's got more in the tank.
Wow.
That's not a bad look,
yeah,
huh?
I know,
but
man.
Can I show my chart? Absolutely. But what hurts me the most about that is that it's going without me, and there's no red triangles north of that $5 area. That's a problem.
What a nice high day break on it too.
Yeah.
That volume really stair-stepped up to the top side and then continued. So yeah, really good look there. I got Jam Lossy asking me to take a look at ORGO. ORGO. All right. Okay, I'm not even gonna say that name. Organogenesis Holdings. All right, a little bit tougher, a little tongue twister there. Yeah, sure. Let's take a look at it. Intraday standpoint, fantastic. But then you can see that we have liquidity issues as well too. You kind of get that algo type price action here in the pre-market and through that intraday standpoint on the 5-minute. If I were to go down a little bit in time frame, and you're going to see it be a little less liquid as well too here, guys. But let's take a look on the daily perspective and see what we got. Whoa.
What?
Okay, here we go. Now I see what you're looking at, Jam. Really nice stuff here, and this is what you want to see. You can see the average true range and the volatility really start to pick up here, that expansion within the price action, a nice breakout volume here. And then one thing that is positive about this is that, yeah, you have this big breakout engulfing candle right here, but look at the volume on the pullback, and that's what you want to see and sustain, right? So when you have a strong move like this, you want to see that volume really step down, and then that can give you a little bit more confirmation that when we decide to turn back around and volume picks back up, that you're going to play and you're going to break the high there. So let's find out what this company actually does, and then we'll take it from there. ROGO. So is a regenerative medicine company focused on development, manufacture, commercialization of solutions of advanced wound care and surgical sports medicine markets. Okay, so there you go, biotech, I guess there. But here we are, nice look. From a daily standpoint, it looks really good. If I zoom out, it's probably not going to be that good because that's how it usually is with some of these names. But if you're in it from the lows and you're looking to allocate right now, that breakout volume is really good. So if it has a news catalyst and it's something that can be sustained and continued, then for sure you're going to get the nod from me on that one. So good luck there from Jam himself. Let's see what else everybody else is. I don't know why I keep repeating that. Let's see what everybody else is up to in the chat. We're still in this Apple trade here. If we can hold this level and then look like the price is going to turn around, then I believe that's when we can get a potential add, and that's what I'm going to hold out for. A lot of people in the chat are talking about MSTR as well too, guys. So we're going to take a look at that. It is at the top of the range and now breaking out. Oh, okay. So I was going to play this breakout, but I didn't see the volume step in enough, and it is a little pricey as well too. So that's something really important. I know it's spread Adara might like that as well. So, but the next target on this name is going to be these pre-market highs here, guys. So nice breakout here. That volume did kick in as the price broke out of these key resistance zones. So now you just need that to be sustained, and it looks like it's doing so. Bitcoin is slowly climbing higher and higher as well, and Apple is going to come back to my break even, looking for these support levels to hold. Then we can get an ad here, Sharif.
Convict.
Ooh, he's back.
Music. And you know we up front, it's breaking out. Wow, shout out to Bovin, man. Bovin, I can always rely on you, my man, for calling out these small cap gappers that are moving midday. Sometimes I try my best to have the ones that I think are gonna make the best moves, but sometimes these bad boys just move midday. But be careful with this one, guys. I got in trouble with Acon a bunch of times yesterday because it has this propensity to break out then retrace. So we have an 831 pop. Look where we're at though, bro. 750 off that 831 pop and drop. It's up 34%. I like it possibly here off 7. Breakout level I perceive to be either 660 because of this kind of top end of the bull flag, or if you want to take that 7 dip off the 10 exponential, we'll see. I mean, Acon on one right now. Let's see if it continues moving. Bovin also called out BKKT, a decent one as well. It's up 25, almost 30%. This one, though, how's it trading, Bovin? What do we got here in terms of spread? Yeah, it's about a 5 or 6 penny spread. Not too bad on a $16 name. It's got a hell of a chart pattern there with higher lows. It's above VWAP. It looks like generally it did defend VWAP, even though it did close below it. It was able to retrace quickly above it. So new ones here on the chart, BKKT and then ACON. And we're already getting a bottoming tail candle here, Bovin, on a... Wow, bro. Seriously? Yeah, this one is a little trouble, okay? I don't think I'm going to trade Acon just because of the nature of how it trades. It trades 30 pennies at a time here. It just moves up really aggressively. So if you're good with that and you're sizing it appropriately and you've got all the proper stop placement, have at it, baby. But to me, it's just like I'd rather something a bit more predictable and a little bit less insane here on. So we're going to keep ACON, obviously, because it's breaking out and it deserves our respect. BKKT, here we go. We're about to take out the high of the day, 1650 Bovin. We're there right now. I think we're like 47s or 48s. So the aggressive move on BKKT continues. There's the new high of day, and there it goes above 50. It's squeezing now, baby, into that 2/3 of a dollar. Let's give them the deets on BKKT. It is backed holdings. We got a float of 6.15 million shares and a nice short float here to work with. 20.25% of that 6.15 million, according to Trade Ideas, is borrowed for short. As I always say, this data could be up to 2 weeks old, and so it may be different right now. And look at this, bro. Wow, BKKT. This is ugly, Joseph. I hate to see that. Topping tail candle into 1680, drops back down, defends 16. This thing's trading 25 pennies at a time. Who does it think is Acon?
Who is it?
Come on, bro. Adara's got breaking news, so we'll go there as soon as we get the message. We did get it.
Not necessarily breaking, but I looked into your backed name there. I saw this about half an hour ago, though. Axios Pro reporting that Apex FinTech is considering acquiring Backed. So again, this is actually an older story. This is from earlier today, but still worth noting. Apex FinTech, as of half an hour ago, considering a Backed acquisition, as reported by Axios Pro. Back to you.
Gorev, man. MSTR as well, too. Continue. Sorry, my friend.
No, it's fine. Yeah, that's the deal right now. Joseph, one more thing I want to let you guys know. So another play that we had yesterday, ASTS, ASTS. So we were talking about how MLGO has a gnarly buyer in and around 470. Well, look at this VWAP hold here on your friend Astis, and it's already $1. So, I mean, I wanted to pick this up, and I didn't. That was a mistake. 31 mid-80s right there. There's a whole bunch of buyers there, but Adira has more breaking news at the big desk.
I'm seeing breaking tariff here too. News reports, I'm not seeing from where, suggesting that the U.S. is considering a 1-month delay of Canada and Mexico tariffs, specifically on autos. So specifically on cars is what I'm seeing. It's unclear based on the wording of this. It doesn't seem like they're necessarily considering delaying all the tariffs, but auto tariffs apparently potentially being delayed by 1 month here for Canada and Mexico. Again, not seeing who reported this, but this popping up here from multiple sources. Guys, back to you.
Thank you very much, Adira, for that. That's very important, obviously. So we're going to keep an ear out, obviously, Joseph, as yesterday was Tariff Tuesday, and today, you know, we kind of feel the effects of that, or we get that kind of curveball. Howard Lutnick, obviously, the Commerce Secretary. Is he the Commerce? Yeah, he is Commerce Secretary. Yesterday said on Fox News that the nature of the tariffs on Canada and Mexico would be a little bit different. It would either be, there would be some sort of deal, sorry. And then this morning, he came out and added more color to that statement that he put on Fox News and said that it would be 25%. However, there would be certain sections or industries that were spared, so to speak. You know what I mean? So we're going to have to find out exactly what the deal is, and that's what we got Adira at the big desk, killing it. Thank you, Adira, for that. Joseph, what do you got?
Yeah, guys, nice trade by Gorev. MSTR really broke out here, guys. That volume is insane on this name. So I'm going to, I'm going to pull up MSTR in a second, but I'm going to look to get involved in some Bitcoin here, guys. So it seems to be a little bit of risk on. Oh, it's still positive on the session, surprisingly. So here's that breakout on MSTR. I wish I took this breakout because now we've surpassed this this pre-market high. But you can see that volume really kick in and just give more confirmation to that name. We were forming higher lows as well too there, folks, which is really important to note. See, and you can see that from a trend line, and then we have that base right here as well, and then that volume kicked in right at the break of it, and that's what you want to use to confirm that breakout. So whoever was trading and whoever mentioned MSTR in the chat, congratulations on that one, because it's working out really nice. So from that breakout point, you're sitting up about 10 points. So yeah, nice work there. And actually, I want to pull up Gorev's trade as well too here. Yeah, I want to pull up Gorev's trade because he was like, Joe, hey, I see some indecision at the lows here of Nvidia. What are you seeing is that sellers push price down and then buyers have the ability to push it up. You have double top, but then there's so many of them, right? So at one point, one party's gonna to lose the battle. And it seems to be, in this case, that the sellers lost, and he was positioned really well. And we were talking about it in the chat. We're just like, hey, the risk profile is really defined, right? If you're in at this hammer candle right here, then you can just use this base as an out. And then if it just does a liquidity grab, you can just get right back in. So nice work from him. He's always looking at the right stuff. We bounce off each other sometimes as well, too, in the chat. So nice work from my guy. Let's see what we can get going here. We got all out of this Apple trade here. We were out 90% of it, so stopped out 10% of it there at the break even. Worked out really good for us. I appreciate that. Thank you. And then here we go with IBIT as well. Looking for that continuation in the momentum. The thing is, though, now we're going to talk about risk profile. It's going to be a little bit tougher because you can see we went parabolic here, and there was no definitive pullback. So now I don't have a base to really put my stop at. So now I got to go to the prior resistance zone. That was right here at 50.40. So if we can hold 50.40 and continue that momentum to the top side, I think we're going to be sitting in a pretty penny. The Playmaker poll is now out. Make sure you guys get that those votes in. 5,200 of you guys watching here today on this Tariff News. Make sure you vote for the Playmaker. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. Adara, what you got?
I have more context here for the tariffs. I'm still reading through this report. Again, I'm not seeing who broke this story, but I'm reading through a summary of this report. Basically, so as mentioned earlier, the U.S. is considering delaying these auto tariffs on Canada and Mexico by 1 month. I want to clarify, A, this has not been announced. The delay has not officially been announced. And B, these are just reports. They have not been confirmed. But basically, so for some more detail, apparently administration officials from the Trump administration have actually met with the heads of the big three auto companies. So executives from Ford, GM, and Stellantis. So GM, Ford, and STLA could actually be the tickers to look at here. These are the executives of the companies that were actually meeting with the administration with regard. Apparently, There's another meeting on possible tariff relief scheduled today at the White House. Again, though, none of this is confirmed as of yet. And apparently the situation is still fluid. So I think the main thing to note is the situation is still fluid. It looks like there could be some tariff relief, but specifically in the auto section, and that does not mean that tariffs are stopped. It just means they may be delayed by 1 month, but we have no clarification on any of these things right now, guys. That's very important to note. They're just reports until we find anything else. Back to you.
It's fantastic reporting, Adara. Great look there. It looks as if Trump expected to speak with Canadian Prime Minister Trudeau today, CNN reporting. It looks as if Howard Lutnick also made a statement on a different network that they would be scaled back. It would be some sort of different deal. It wouldn't be the 25%. A little bit different than what he said yesterday, which was it was going to be 25%, just not on everything. So, it's obviously a very fluid situation. But I feel like this is how Donald Trump negotiates. You know what I mean? He doesn't feel like he needs to be quartered in. He throws something out there. He looks for a reaction. He assesses the feasibility of the idea as he goes. He doesn't, I don't feel like he plans everything with, great detail ahead of time. He just kind of likes the idea. He throws it out there. And if it sticks and it does well and it's well received or whatever else, he'll just kind of go with it because there's just so much fluidity in all this. You don't expect there to be such fluidity in something so important, Joseph.
I agree with you on that front. So just play it as you go, improv, and just see the reactions of how everybody reacts to the situation, and then you can build a base, and then you can counter-react, I guess, and that's what they seem to want to do in this case. So another delay of tariffs is going to be slightly interesting. At what point can you just continuously delay things? Yeah. They will come into play eventually, but maybe not as fierce and as aggressive as he's perceived it to be. All right. So so here we go, guys. Let's see if we can. Yeah, here we go now. Let's see if we can hold on to this position much longer. See, the thing is, though, in these volatile markets, and I wrote in my notes this morning, is just be a little bit more patient, right? Wait for that retest. Wait for those confirmation candles to display themselves. During this market and in this environment, you can usually get those multiple retests, and then that's when you can get those entries. So for me, I might have jumped the gun a little bit early here, especially with this 5-minute candle printing here. I don't love this print right here, Sharif, just because it has a lot of selling pressure on it, and buyers have the ability to push it all the way up to 57.75 roughly, and then sellers just push it right back down. Even though there is a little bit of a bottom wick, it's not that good because now I have to wait to 50.42, and if we breach that, then I have to get out of the trade, which is going to be slightly unfortunate, but okay, because I would like this momentum to be sustained. Let's see what MSTR is continuing to is it still breaking out or is it pulling back? So yeah, relatively strong. Identical 5-minute print here with IBIT. Wow, I didn't even see yesterday's session here, guys. That was really beautiful. And when I talk about retests, look at this. So you get that retest here. You held above it, but then you just come back, chop around the volume-weighted average price, and then eventually you just break out, and then the stock doesn't even look back at this point. So really nice breakout. What is this, a 30-point move roughly on this name? 20-point move? Yeah, even more, 50 points on MSTR. So really good luck there. Let's see what we got going on from a daily standpoint. And we know that it's been in this trend here. So strategy, I don't know why we call it, I don't know why it's still MicroStrategy up here. It's strategy now. So yeah, that's the name. Let's see if we can break through this downward trend line. We'll draw it out for you guys real quick before I know I hear Adara's talking about some potential news. So we'll wait for the call and then we'll send it over to her. No, we don't want to own it. Okay, all right, she's good there. So we'll continue to rabble on. What's that song? You know that song, right?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm 100, bro.
You're not 42, man. Come on, man. It's on Q107 for all my Canadian people that really like to listen to it. So yeah,
rock alternative.
Yeah, rock alternative. And I asked Sharif, Akon or T-Pain. He said Akon. I'm gonna go T-Pain because you know what I mean.
Like T-Pain
I
too.
like T-Pain.
Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, T-Pain.
I like
both
T-Pain.
great. Yeah,
but Akon to me is just like
in the same era, roughly. I guess. Yeah, maybe so. So yeah, we like that. And Sean Kingston, remember that guy?
Yeah. I don't know. Would you put him in the same category?
No. No. But he's a producer, so he did pretty good from. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. After he had those couple hot hits, then he just went to producing music, I guess. But here we go, guys, in IBIT. Let's see if we can break through this pivot high. If we can, I think we're going to run into the next level, which is these pre-market lows. And then I believe that we can, if we break through and head into the middle of the range, the next level is 51. And that might be in here for a potential target because that volume is there, Sharif.
Yes, sir. Cameron. Gift. Okay, let's check out Gift. I've got lots to talk about, but if you're telling me Gift is doing tanks, we're going to have a look at GIFT of the ticker, guys. That's what I mean there.
Yeah, that's it. Derek S. It's Led Zeppelin. Rebel on.
Yes, no Steph.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what we got here. That's a weekly. That's not what we want. Obviously, okay. I thought you were going to give me something good, Cameron. What's going on with this thing, man? It's got like 10 shares traded on the day. GIFT, what is the situation here? So there's, as you can see the chart there, a little light on volume, but we've done 115,000 shares. Maybe you're telling me about this because it's bottoming out. Yeah, look, that dollar area, interesting. Okay, maybe you're talking about it from a daily perspective, but intraday, there's just not enough volume for me to get involved in. What does this company do? Giftify, formerly RDE, owns and operates Restaurant.com, a pioneer in the restaurant deal space, and the nation's restaurant-focused digital deals brand. Okay, is that like, what's it called, that table? What's it called, Joseph? Open Table.
Open Table,
Yeah.
yeah.
Is it like that? I don't know.
I don't know.
Okay. Thank you for the call out, though. Here's the deal. So there's a whole lot going on right now. MLGO is using that $4.90, $5 area as support now. Well, you previously used it as resistance. That's where we got out. So it's kind of building its kind of foundation, its support level in and around 5. What I also like about this is it's putting in higher lows. So MLGO, it's not giving up the ghost. It's still very much in play with a 518 high. I think I'm going to get back into this at around $5 if it will have me. Let's talk about BKKT, a little bit light on volume, but at VWAP, it did top up into 1680, but it's right back down now with higher lows. If you're looking at these areas over here, it's higher low, higher low, higher low, and generally holding VWAP. It did close a tiny bit below VWAP, but we're kind of trying to fight back above it right now. So BKKT also in focus. CDXC, the one I'm currently involved in, I took a print there in the high 90s, but this one is kind of rounding top into $9. So I am concerned. It's still technically a higher low. If you're using these areas or these troughs as your area guides, 850 is the low there. We're still printing 880 right now. CDXC very much in focus. Astis, this one is going to have to be a range trade until we can flat top break through 330. But I like this at VWAP, ASTS. I missed this one. I had eyes on it. I didn't execute on it because I didn't feel good about it. I was wrong. I'm going to execute on it next time if it does dip into VWAP. It's good. It's putting in a good range here. Essentially 32 to the south side and about 33 to the high side. $1 range. That's acceptable on a small cap gapper. Acon. It's finding now a bottom for whatever reason at that 720 area. Now, I'm not going to be quick to jump into this. It's above VWAP, so still tradable under my system. VWAP's at 705. It's printing 735. My only concern with Acon is I've seen it give up the ghost and bamboozle you into a trade only to have everything retraced. It did it to me yesterday several times. So I'm going to be very hesitant and cautious about getting into ACON over here unless it's like an A+ setup. This one I haven't talked about. EOSE, and I haven't given you any details on it either, but it's putting in a great look. Now, you're not getting much in the way of a notional move. I mean, we closed out at 394 yesterday, and today the high of the day is 471. So you're not getting a big boy move on it. But what you are getting is higher low, and you guessed it, another higher low. All of those higher lows defended VWAP. So I can kind of make an educated guess at this point that VWAP is playing a role, is playing a factor as a support level today for EOSE. If it's done it once, twice, and OB thrice, maybe, just maybe, it'll do it a fourth time. So EOSE kind of looking top heavy at the moment with a possible double top into that 470, but I like it at the volume weighted average price at 447. I'm going to throw it an alert on this bad boy. I'll throw it at 450 to front run VWAP. And besides, VWAP is a dynamic level. So maybe by the time the price comes into that 450, VWAP is actually at that $4.50. So EOSE, an interesting one to keep an eye on at the moment. ASTS is going all the way back up into 33. Now, you're probably wondering, maybe you're not, but I'm going to mention it anyway. If I said there's a range here on ASTS between 32 and 33, why wouldn't I get short 33? And I'll just answer my own question, but nobody asked. And the reason I don't do that is because number one, I have a rule about not shorting small cap gappers or small cap gapper like stocks above VWAP. Now, I rarely short them to begin with, but there was a period of time when I did. It would always be the same thing, the inverse of my long setup. I won't take them long if they're trading below VWAP. In the same way, I won't take them short if they're trading above VWAP. So that's number one. Number two, it's up 15%, 15.5% on the day. It was up yesterday. So I feel like shorting into strength is riskier than taking something long into strength. That's my thinking there. And that's why I don't take these small cap gappers. Another one fell.
Well, no, when I
boy.
came back, yeah, I looked, I'm like, okay, I got a screw here, and then I'm like, why is this arm a little loose? And then the other one came out now, right?
But didn't one fall out the other day, like last week or two?
Yeah, well, I put it back in.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Any little trick, a little
I have
handy.
no idea, bro. I have
A
no
little
idea.
handy, you know what I mean?
I'm not saying anything.
I think I could put a little screw back in. An
Fair.
IKEA guy too, you know what I mean?
Fair.
Hey, if you need any IKEA stuff, Bill, call me. I'm your guy. And I love
Shameless
building-
plug.
Yeah.
Boom.
I love building that stuff, man. But here we go, guys.
Yes, sir.
We're starting to kick up here in IBIT. We did break through some key levels that we needed, and then now let's see if that can be sustained. I should have added a little bit here on this breakout candle, but I want a little bit more volume to step in here. All right, so we're gonna monitor that. Hopefully, this isn't a fake breakout like Sharif mentioned earlier in the day. Because if it is, then we're going to probably head a lot lower and give back what we just went on in this run. But I like this 5-minute volume print. It is an outlier compared to the past couple hours of the session, and hopefully that can be sustained and buyers step back in eventually. Now, a lot of people are going over MSTR. I haven't been keeping my eye on it. I know we talked about it multiple times, but now that I look at it, I'm like, oh, okay, from yesterday's session and this continuing, holding a nice base here. So that's why I think it's really key to mark out some key levels. I think that's why I think it's important to mark out some key levels when you start your day, right? So you don't have to mark out everything because then your chart will just be littered with lines. But I think previous day close, a lot of people refer to as the king of all levels. And then you got the pre-market highs, pre-market lows, intraday highs and intraday lows. And if you mark those out, like Sean and Neil do, they just bounce off of them, right? So you can see that we have a post-market here level, and look how many touches this is, all right? So you get this pullback here in MSTR 1, 2, and then from an intraday standpoint, at the open, it holds that exact same level, and then it had the inability to break through, then constructing higher lows there, guys. So that's what you want to keep an eye out on, and then now continuing to the top side, so just continuing yesterday's trend, and that's what you want to be able to identify. You want to look for strong stocks and the trend continuation, because we know that the market has been turbulent. That's for sure. Volatility's picked up within the VIX, so that means an increase in options premium, and that means that stocks are fluctuating more and more day to day, and that's why I talked about widening your stop a little bit when volatility does pick in. I remember, Sharif, when I first started trading in 2022, that was like, I guess, near the end of COVID, roughly getting there. But the market was still really volatile, and we didn't enter that bull market just yet, right? So we were still in the works of like, hey, it's not looking too pretty right now. And then you had that monetary policy really start to kick in, and with the rate hike cycle, so that it just brought more volatility into the market. And I learned very quickly that if you have tight stops, you're going to be getting stopped out quite 100%. Often, and it's not going to be a good time.
Yeah, especially if what you're trading is an awfully volatile name. I mean, and I always talk about this range per candle. If you're looking at the chart and the average range per candle is like $1, and then you're putting your stop a couple of pennies, I mean, what do you
expect? Yeah, exactly, right? What do you expect?
So that's the situation. Yeah, guys, all right. We're involved, got back in here to MLGO. Let's see if it holds that $5 area. Let's throw out a couple of orders on this monster, see if we can extract some profitability possibly to the high side there. I've been holding my CDXC position for a hot minute. I am concerned about this one though. So it's still holding in the 80s. We're long 63s, but I perceive CDXC to kind of be doing a rounded top with that $9 area as its rejection top area. So I am a little concerned with CDXC. We still have a higher low. We're above VWAP. Got all the good stuff, but, the winds of change may be coming on this name, and I don't think it's to the good side. So that's just my perception of it there. Still waiting here on MLGO for a pop back up. It looks like, for the moment, we've got that 5 dip trade. Let's see if we can get any prints to the high side on MLGO. Waiting there at 8s. Now, Astis I mean, yeah, I know we're going to do that for sure, Andre, but I'm just disappointed in myself for not having taken this off 32. Double bottom there, Joseph. It's VWAP, and now we're breaking through the top at 32.80, and we're knocking the door of 33. So, you know, let's pay some bills.
Let's pay some bills. Maybe Foremost will help you get into that trade here, guys. All right, so Foremost, unlocking the nuclear renaissance with Foremost Clean Energy, leveraging one of the biggest mega trends on the planet, nuclear energy. Partnering with Denison Mines with properties strategically located in the Athabasca Basin, known as the Saudi Arabia of uranium. The undervalued company is poised to capitalize on the exploding nuclear market and offers unparalleled growth potential. The future is nuclear. Foremost is your entry, all right, guys? On the NASDAQ under FMST or on the CSE under FAT, or go to foremostcleanenergy.com for details. There is the QR code, guys. Look to get involved in that nuclear energy. You know, I've been looking for a play on that.
Hey.
But, guys, we got to see what Adair's up to.
Yes,
We
sir.
got some news.
You aware here of Google? Apparently, the company announcing via CEO Sundar Pichai on X, they have a new AI mode for search. So basically what this entails is when you do this, you'll get AI responses using Gemini 2.0, which includes, to quote Sundar, advanced reasoning, thinking, multimodal capabilities, and new ways to explore even more of the web. They already had an AI component, but now it looks like more high-end responses here from Gemini 2.0. So new AI update for Google search, guys. Currently, though, Google projecting this 170.50. Back to you.
ML Dang GO is the gift that keeps on giving. You keep taking, and then it puts back on the table. So you can take some more. Got back in at $5. We took it out at $5.25. They're happy with this trade. Not big size on the second entry, but happy with the execution on this bad boy. $5 acting as a level of support. You can kind of see that. It did it once, twice, and then, of course, Obi thrice. But it did it another time. I don't know how to say four or what rhymes, but there it is right there. So waiting for this one to come back down, possibly test 5 again. MLGO on one to dates, up over 25%, and a second day play. It was moving yesterday. I don't know if it was moving Monday, but it was moving yesterday for certain. Right now it is on one. It's also very respectful of the 10 exponential. So it's bouncing off 5, but if you're not looking, or for whatever reason you don't want to take it off a whole dollar level, the 10 exponential moving average on the 5-minute chart has been respected over and over and over on the uptrend today on MLGO. Please, as dang punch. We'll look to get back in if it's warranted. Still keeping my eye here on Astis at that $33 level. Want to see if it wants to retrace. It's still below the high of the day. Actually, that's incorrect. It just made the high of the day. 33.16 new HOD on this monster. It looks destined to really keep clearing here. I perceive this one to have 32.80 as previous area of resistance with about 32 to the downside. That's kind of cleared since we're above 33. We're not above 33 by all that much, but you know, we'll see exactly what the situation here with Astis. Very interested in trading this name. A bit more expensive, obviously, so you're going to have to account for that in your risk management, in your sizing, obviously. So keep that in mind when you are trading. ASTS is no longer, you know, that $5, $10 name we were trading back in the day. CDXC, okay, well, we got a higher low. So let's zoom out. Let's go to the 5 on CDXC and then zoom in a little bit. So I perceive this one to be putting in higher lows. If you looked at this area over here at 7 3/4 as an area trough, and then you look at this 860 area as an area trough, well, then we have an 875 area trough over here. And now we're kind of curling back up, possibly take out 9s. Now I took my I've got a few more on this one. I took the previous beak wetter into that $9 area, and the other beak wetter that has gone unfilled is above 9 because it's had a lot of trouble taking out 9 ever since making that 918 high, broke down below line 9, and we haven't been above 9 since. So I'm packing my patience. We're showing 91 on the ask right now. Let's see if we can weasel above that $9 area. And then it probably behooves me to take another beak wetter, possibly at, you know, 915s, 918s. Reason is, we got 918 HOD. So I have this habit of trying to front run the high of the day in case there is selling in and around there that I wasn't aware of initially, like a big seller at the high of the day. So I like to front run it to take some profits there in case it gets rejected. Go get it, Katina, man. Here's the situation with Astis right now. This one is still going. So this is really clearing 33 now. We're on our way to 33.5. 41 is the high of the day. It has been a rocket ship, Joseph, ever since bouncing that triple bottom off the volume weighted average price, and up we go. We have not been looking back. Ask this on one right now.
Hey, good look there. You know what's on one?
What?
Is that? Who's singing it? Drake. You sing that one, right? I'm on one?
No.
Who sings that one?
No idea.
I'm on
said
one?
no.
Yeah. Oh, all right, all right.
Future?
Yeah, come on, man. Come on. All right, anyways, IBIT is really on one.
Sorry,
Come on.
I didn't mean to be anticlimactic.
No, man,
You've
but
done
it's
that
all
to me,
right.
bro. I
Hey,
asked you
man.
about Seinfeld. I asked you about Rocky. What did I ask you about? I asked you about White Men Can't Jump yesterday. I got blank stares. I threw up one blank stare.
But come on, man. You know what I mean? Like, I thought everybody knew that I'm
sorry,
on one,
bro.
Drake,
I'm
man.
sorry.
Because then you had me questioning myself, and then I'm like, whoa,
Katina, man, backed you up super quick
I
there,
appreciate
though,
it. That's
no?
my guy, then, man. That's right. All right, here we go, guys. Continuing to climb higher here in IBIT. This breakout is working, and the volume is supporting the move. We're going to look for that pullback and the retest of the volume-weighted average price, and then we can get a potential add in this trade. But MSTR has gone absolutely parabolic at this point, guys. Continuing that trend. Yesterday, today we talked about how it just moved 50 points in a day, which is crazy on this name, and then continuing to do so here, guys. So we have a low of day of around 272, and then now we're not knocking on the door of around 300. So we're almost around a 25-point move on this name as well, too. So you know what? This is some good stuff here on MSTR. Is it going to drag Bitcoin up with it? Maybe, possibly. I think it's more of the other way around. Bitcoin going to drag MSTR up, but who knows with this market, right? So that's what we want to stick with, is these names in these big names. All right, guys, let's see what everybody in the chat is saying. Only thing Drake is on is, oh, okay, Charlie Taff, I see that. That's a good one there. So we're not going to repeat what that one says. Yeah, we see. But yeah, guys, continue to know what you're looking at in the chat, and we'll be going over some of those names for you. But IBIT is climbing higher. We're now knocking on the door at 51, so working really good. And you know that we're always going to keep an eye on the volume by time profile. I'm going to look at for some more names that are going to potentially break out. CrowdStrike is running in towards some key resistance levels, and it might start going as well too, because it looks like the market wants to climb higher and higher here. So you just want to follow that strength. But we are running into some support levels here from the pre-market price action. So keep that in mind here, guys. I think the next target, if we do break through this level, is going to be that pre-market high of around 365. All right, so we'll just mark that out here, because we want to have an eye on these key levels. So if you're in this CrowdStrike report yesterday, lowered the guidance for fiscal 26, which is lowered and didn't hit the street's estimates. So you can see that that might be a reason why it is weaker than some of these other names here. So yeah, Q's in the SPY trading half decently as well. Amazon, I know Neil was looking at this morning and trading it as well too. So yeah, a nice bounce off the bottom. I want to take a look at this name from a daily standpoint and just see how we have this indecision print with a nice candle volume print right here. So pretty high considering the past month or two or so. So yeah, this is what we're going to look for if we get a retest. I was in at Amazon around 312, and then I got stopped out around 310 or 302. Sorry. So a 10-point loss on that swing, but that's okay. Not going to get too worried about it, because I think it will bounce. And I talked about how the Mag 7 and some of these mega cap tech names are down substantially year to date. Right, so we're down about 18-19% on the year in some of these big names, with the likes of Amazon, Tesla down 40% plus, and then Microsoft and Google as well too. Google closer to the 20%. But yeah, we're climbing high here in Bitcoin. Should have added here, guys, when I mentioned it at the break of this pivot, but we did not. So that is something that I need to be held accountable for. So you guys can do that in the chat. If I tell you, hey, I'm going to add here at the break of this, and I don't do it, call me out on it and say, hey, Joe, why didn't you add on that one? And then I'll be sure to do it next time. But we're going to slowly start to piece things out here, guys, as we climb higher. Now north of 50 here on IBIT, 51, sorry, on IBIT. Let's see what spot.
Bro, what the hell is happening?
Yeah,
This market's recovering
I'm telling you. So Let's see what Spot's at. Spot's just under 90. We're running into that key support level as well, too, guys. But MSTR going to the moon at this point, Sharif.
All right, Joseph, we
Yes,
go
sir.
up to the bathroom. We come back. We got the 525 print here on MLGO. Please, just dang punch.
Bang.
Thank you. Appreciate you, bro. So we're going to look to get more in, man. I'm gonna shadow the 10 exponential. Now, I don't want to have to wait for 5 every time. So the 10 exponential showing like 508, 510, give or take, something in and around there. So MLGO still in focus for me right now. Not giving up on this one, still keeping my eye on it. Now, the deal with this one is it's getting a little precarious here for CDXC. You know, we wax poetic about, you know, this attempt at 9, but we got another topping till into 9. There is a seller of note here. I haven't seen it really reflected on the book in the way that I would anticipate seeing such a big seller at $9, but you gotta assume that there is a larger seller at $9. We haven't been above $9 since we made that 918 high a day and then dropped below it into that $0.50 area. So $9 still an elusive target for the moment on CDXC. It's not one of those situations, though, where I want to add into the position, you know, and then look to get more on the dips and take it out in front of 9. I'd rather wait for a 9 break. And the reason I feel that way is because we're still putting in higher lows. Right? So if you're looking at each trough and its predecessor, the successive trough is higher than the one before it. Okay? So if that's the case, then usually we get a resolution to the high side. Usually the price does resolve to the high side on CDXC. So we'll have to wait. That's kind of what we're going to do right now on CDXC. We still have several outs on this bad boy left, none of which have gone printed because it hasn't been above 9, and I just don't want to take it out in front of 9. So that's my look right now on CDXC. But I'm also keeping an eye on this bad boy over here. And I mentioned this one earlier, and I was afraid that it could have been manifesting a double top. EOSE. What a beautiful look on this one. And you nary a red candle, man. I mean, you could have been punching in heavy here. You don't have a spread. It's a 1 penny spread. You have a very consistent higher high, higher low pattern. You're not even seeing a red candle to bamboozle you, to say, oh, yeah, let me pull out of the trade. So EOSE is on one. The only question for me is, where do I get in? We'll give that some thought when we get back from Madeira.
Bang.
Just want to let you guys know about Meta here. Keep an eye on META. I'm seeing apparently the company's chief product officer said that Meta's AI is the most used AI assistant on a monthly basis with 700 million monthly users. Also, really good timing here. I'm just seeing a story coming out here, I think reported by Marijuana Moment, which is a cannabis-related publication. I am talking about MSOS here. Apparently, according to this publication, an activist said, according to this report, that the Trump White House has invited a proposal on federal marijuana legalization that is according to an activist and being reported by Marijuana Moment. So MSOS, what a pop. If you're looking for other cannabis-related plays, CGC, ACB, TLRY are all in that space off the top of my head, guys. Back to you.
All right, Aurora Cannabis, 1,300, next target, baby. Let's go. Yeah. What a tough look on that one, eh?
All
Wow.
good, bro.
Yeah,
All
it's
good.
all good. Yeah, it's all good. What is
You're
that?
like,
Let me
yeah,
see.
you say that.
Post that one meme where the house is on fire and you're just chilling there drinking a coffee.
Oh,
yeah,
I
you
love
know that one?
dude.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. 1,300, the next target. Funny stuff. All right, guys, let's see what's cooking up here in the market as we continue to climb higher. Amazon broke through some key resistance zones here, so these MAG are starting to pick up a lot of steam, and so is Apple. Apple's really, really moving, and we're all breaking through these local pivots here, guys, so let's keep that in mind. I'm going to pull up AAPL for you guys real quick. Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Oh, no.
This is fine. Everything is fine, man. Everything is fine. You know what I mean? It's not. The house is burning down. 1,300 is my potential target on ACB, guys. So not looking pretty. But hey, Sharif, if it ever hits, I promise the people that I'll throw a party if it ever goes back up to.
Yeah, because
you know what I mean?
Well, you'll be well in the money then.
Well, yeah.
The question is though, are you willing to DCA?
No, I'm not.
Are you willing to DCA though? That's the thing. Yeah.
I don't even know what it would take in order for me to DCA to get my $1,300 average all the way down to like $2.
I don't know, bro. You got to take like triple the position.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
No,
Because
thank
you get
you.
into a big position, like full disclosure. Like
Yeah.
I think people can learn from this. I've talked about my losers. Everybody talks about their loser.
Yeah.
What's your thinking about this? Like,
No.
how did this all unfold for you, Joseph?
How
Tell
did it?
people what
Well,
you're thinking.
I was green, right? So I did pretty good on Canopy, Growth Corp, and Afria. So I was green, and then I'm like, okay, let me take some of what I've gained here in Canopy and just throw about a 5-figure sum into it notionally. And then I was positive on the name, and I didn't know anything about stop losses. I didn't know anything about like, hey, when the market is dying and it can be a potentially dead stock and overvalued. I didn't know any of those things, so I just bag held and I was thinking,
but
hey,
this was before you started trading.
Way before.
You got this in 16. You started trading in 22.
Yeah, this is like 20 teens, right?
So,
yeah. I was investing, but again, I didn't know anything, and I refer to you guys all the time about my my Canopy and my Moderna investment, but I didn't really know anything about the markets other than my friend told me to invest, and then that's when I just typed in on Google, what are the top marijuana companies in Canada, and then I was like, who is going to lead the vaccine race, right? So I was essentially green and just typed in those things, and I became lucky.
I remember Moderna, bro. Yeah. I got a story on my gram, me trading it at 37.5.
Oh, really?
Yeah. March 2020. I won't forget that.
I was my average was like 30 or 40 bucks on Moderna. Rode it all the way up to 500. Cashed some out there with my cousin there, but then
hold on, you rode that to 500?
Yeah.
So then I don't even want to hear about your ACV
But I didn't
trade.
know. Yeah, I didn't know though. But mind you, I didn't take it all out. I thought this thing was going to go to 1,000, and we thought COVID was never going to end, right?
Yeah,
so it gave a lot of unrealized back when it came back down. But it was a face slapper for sure, man, for sure. But I'll give it to you in a second here because we are starting to really start to go parabolic here in IBID here, Sharif, climbing higher and higher. I'm waiting for that volume to slowly start to step up here, guys, and it's doing that. So it hasn't looked back from VWAP. Once we broke VWAP, guys, we're now climbing higher. 5140 is the name on IBID, now north of 90K on spot itself, Sharif.
Great call out there, Joseph. All right, guys, I punched long like a crazy person again on MLGO at 5, wet the beak there into 508. Now I'm waiting at 510. Let's see if we can get another pop-up here on MLGO. It was a bit of a riskier one because we had popped into 528, and I was waxing poetic, to use an Adair term, that this had been respecting the 10 exponential. But you know what it did, Adair? It went right through that 10 exponential. It made me look, I know, how dare it, right? Make it... Making me look awfully silly. Get it, Randy. The OG Randy has graced us with his presence on the couch right now. So we're going to keep an eye out on MLGO over here. Still waiting for a beak wetter in and around there. Let's hang out at 16s as well. See what we can get there. But yeah, it's coming right back down. I've got a really tight stop on this, guys. It's going to have to hold up above 494. Otherwise, we want no smoke, especially with that big move up into 5 1/4-ish and a bigger move down. And in fact, breaching the 10 exponential. So wet the beak over here, but going to keep a super tight stop on the remaining amount on MLGO. Still watching as CDXC puts me to sleep. Higher lows is what's keeping me optimistic about this trade. It is putting incrementally higher lows. So every time we sell off, we're being bought up at a little bit of a higher level, not by much. You know, we're talking pennies here, but that is what keeps me optimistic that we can get that breakthrough $9 and a reattempt at the high of the day, which currently still is 918. Now showing me low 90s. Let's see if this bad boy wants to move up. But MLGO is breaking below 5. I've got my stop exactly. I'll tell you guys where. MLGO 495 stop with a 5-penny buffer into 490. So, you know, and the reason I do that, guys, I give my stops a bit of a buffer is because these small cap gappers can experience sudden bursts of illiquidity, meaning that a big seller can come in and wipe out all the bid orders from, say, 497 down to 487, and that'll leave my stop unfilled. It will just literally be staring at me on the screen, and I'll be losing more money as it goes down. So then I'll have to use my flatten out key, which is a market order, which I don't typically like to do. So I try to avert all that shenanigans by giving the computer 2 different data points. 1, a price at which to sell, and then a price at which my minimum sell price is. So I'll say, trigger a sell order from 495, but it'll give it all the way down to 490. So it'll sell at any level between 95 and 90. You can do that, which is what I do because I want to use limit orders, or you can get around that whole situation by using market orders. And essentially what that tells the computer is whatever the price is at the time that 495 is, sell at whatever. It could be at 40.88, it could be at 482. It won't matter. As long as it triggers, then it'll sell at whatever the market price is. So that obviously can cause some slippage, right? It gives you one thing in the sense, it gives you one positive in the sense that, it gets you out of the position, but the bad side is it gives you a lot of slippage. What's going on over there,
Yo,
Andre?
Andre or Joseph?
Andre, because like that, you're covered by the e-signal ad. You're no longer on the show.
I'm no longer on the show.
What's going on?
All right, sure.
Don't play it. I'm sure we'll have that fixed in a hot
What's
second.
going on there, Andre? I see what you're getting
Yeah,
at.
yeah.
Now we're back. Hey, now we're back. No,
Hey.
one more time. And there we go. Okay, is it my turn here?
Go ahead.
All right.
Yeah. Hold on. I just want to mention one thing quick, Joseph, if you don't mind. People are saying GV is running.
Yeah,
Thank
that's what I wanted to. I was going to hop in it real quick here too, because Sharif, are you looking at this name today?
I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, okay.
I saw that right now.
Yeah, it's really, someone in the chat asked you and I to look at it as well too, but it's looking really good here, guys. We're starting to break out. So I don't, I'm going to chase it a little bit because I do like that curl over here in the price action. And we're going to see if we can get in on a pullback. Sharif, like you say, this name is up 102%. They're here for a good time, not necessarily a long time.
Bang.
I'm not really overly experienced in trading the small caps like you are, but anytime I see price actions really start to consolidate and then slowly curl over, and then you get that volume to pick up on the 5-minute time frame, etc., and you're looking like you want to break out and the volume on the lower time frames is starting to pick up, then I'm going to look to participate. Let's see what you got going on it.
Yeah, man, that's a great call. Well said there, Joe. So I just removed PRTS and put GV. GV has now earned its way onto the side chart, but I am still a little concerned with that 295 pop. Now, that 295 pop was technically after the bell, so it doesn't breach my rules to get in here above or below, that 297. Look at this move, 269, 270. We're moving on up. Moving on up. And on top of that, get it, Dara. On top of that, we're getting a bit more higher volume. I know that's down your alley, Joseph. We definitely dropped in the volume, and now we're kind of rounding, putting in higher highs on the volume bar. So the volume's starting to pick up. So what I was trying to say earlier was, this pop here at 935 technically is an after the bell high at 935, but I still am concerned with bag holders or shorts who use this level to keep the price down. So I'm going to say, unless, something shows me, something's a little bit different here, I'm going to steer clear of GV until 295, until that 295 gets taken. That's just one of my rules. Not everybody has to follow that. I'm sure other people can make money off it in a different way. I'm just talking about how I do it. So 295 will be the level for me, but so much do I like it, I will be looking to alert myself in the high 80s there. So we'll throw an alert to let me know if this bad boy wants to hold up. CDXC continues to range and do nothing, so we're going to continue to hold that and hold out for a $9 pop or we'll get stopped out. Simple as that. MLGO, still waiting for a print, but I think this is the wrong print here. I don't want to get printed there, man. Let's go up a little bit higher here on MLGO. Let's wait for the lofty price of 16s, and I jest when I say that, obviously. I do like the double bottom on the 5 that MLGO just put in. Now, this one has shown its propensity to clear resistance levels and then use said resistance levels as support. Let's talk about this. So look at this over here. We have a whole bunch of resistance at around 490. Lo and behold, we clear 490 with a big boy move and outsized volume candles, taking us to the high of the day. Then look what happens. We dip down. We end up holding 497. So I love when the top end of the range of one area ends up being the bottom end of the range of the subsequent area. And you can kind of see the buying. You don't need to be a chartered market technician to understand what was happening in these candles over here. Every time we dipped into 470, we were being bought aggressively, okay? And that kind of looks like the same thing to me now. Every time we dip into the 4 high 90s, we did it over here, we did it over here, and again twice over here, we're being bought up. So it doesn't mean it's going to happen forever and ever more, and the bottom can drop off at any time. The point is to put the odds on our side, and I think that this helps put the odds on our side. So I'm long right now, MLGO again, for the umpteenth time on the day, and more pleased I could not be because I like how it is trading at the moment. So we're going to put the beak wetter at around 16s, and then hope, because that's all it is, hope that CDXC, I know, opium, right? Breaks through that $9 area, Joseph, and doesn't drop all the way down to 63 as well.
Yeah, good luck there, guys. I got out of GV here. This isn't necessarily a space I'm familiar with. I was looking for that momentum to continue. Unfortunately, I was a little late on the trade, and so whoever mentioned it in the chat earlier, I apologize for not going over it slightly earlier, but nice curling over, and this is where you want to get in at the break of this resistance zone and then continue through that move. If we are going to break that pre-market or this high a day here, then we're going to wait for this pullback and then get involved on that there, guys. But we have a good question here from Walter. He says, guys, is there a way to put a stop loss limit and a higher sell limit at the same time? Shreve, I don't know if I can answer that. Other than maybe an OCO, one cancels the other when you can simultaneously do things, but then you might just have to place each order individually, I think, in that opinion.
Can you repeat that, Joseph? Sorry.
An OCO? Oh, the question? Uh-huh. Okay, so is there a way to put a stop loss limit and a higher sell limit at the same time?
A stop loss limit and a higher sell limit.
A stop order.
There would be two sell orders. One's a stop and one's a profit taker.
Correct.
Yes. I can do that on P Pro 8, and I can do that with my platform
simultaneously.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Like Joseph, look, I've got my beak wetters here.
Yeah, but
and I can throw an edge A stop. I can throw a script stop.
Oh, okay,
right?
okay. So do you just have multiple L2s, or do you just do it with all within the same order?
No, multiple different orders.
Oh,
I throw different orders. I don't know how the system processes it, if it makes it one order. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Or it sends out different orders. But we got to weasel up.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that. Was a good question, but
yeah, man.
We'll talk.
See, guys, it actually is tariff related here, or at least adjacent. So apparently a CNN reporter posting on X that Trump and Trudeau have spoken today already. We had reports they were going to speak. Now, apparently, a CNN reporter has posted on X that they have, in fact, spoken. Of course, we have no evidence of this. This is an X post and only that as of right now. But worth noting, report, or I guess a post from a CNN reporter suggesting that Trump and Trudeau have already spoken today. The meeting likely about tariffs, as we know. Trudeau had mentioned he wanted to speak to Trump during his conference yesterday. If I have any more details, I will let you know. Back to you.
Okay, there you go. Yeah. Right.
I'm hoping for the best. Everything's out of our hands at the moment.
Prepare
There's nothing
for the worst.
that we can do. I'm not talking about you and me personally. I'm talking about Canada
itself.
We've thrown those retaliatory tariffs, whether you agree with them or not. We've engaged in negotiations. We've tried to diversify. I don't think that that's a possibility, realistically speaking, at least in the short to intermediate term. And now everything's really going to be up to, realistically, it's going to be up to Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Right? So kind of, wait and see kind of situation. Yeah. Not the best position you want to be in, obviously. Not the best negotiating hand, but the cards are the cards.
Yeah, and you got to, exactly. You got to play them eventually. So, a lot of people in the chat are talking about, it's a bracket order. So I'm assuming that's what you
but I don't even have to set up as a bracket order. Joseph.
Like
I just enter the orders, and I can do that. I don't want to big them up, but on my platform over here, I can do it on P Pro 8. I don't actually have to go and set up a bracket order in isolation. It just kind of does it.
All right, that's interesting. Yeah, I kind of guess I do it the old school way then, but one at a time. And then that's it. But as for the tariffs, you know what's going on here in Ontario too, Sharif. There's no more U.S. liquor going to be on the shelves in the LCBO.
And I don't get that, Joseph. We already bought the liquor, bro. It already has been purchased from the manufacturer. We're just sitting on product that we're not going to recoup. Sell it and then don't buy anymore.
Exactly.
Sorry?
What'd you say?
Pure to spite. He's absolutely accurate.
For sure.
I mean, it's for spite.
It's a spiteful move, right? and that's what it is, right? Why don't you sell what's on the shelf first and then just not order anymore? Right?
Yeah, and there's videos all online about the LCBO employees. LCBO, guys, just to kind of give you context for American viewers, it stands for the Liquor Control Board of Ontario. So up until recently, if you wanted to buy anything other than beer and seltzer and maybe some wine coolers, you had to go to one government-run liquor store. That's being changed a little bit by the current premier, who's like the governor. He's allowed other stores to sell liquor, not hard liquor like your 40% plus, but other types of alcohol. So the LCBO, what they did was they basically told all their employees, remove all the American alcohol off the shelves. So there's all these viral videos online of the LCBO employees taking them off. And that's what we were asking each other. It's like, dude, we already paid for this.
Yeah.
And that's taxpayer money because the LCBO is owned by the government. So your money and my money went and purchased that American liquor, and that's now collecting dust in a back room somewhere.
Yeah. Well, eventually it'll get put back on the shelves,
Hopefully.
I think, right?
Yep.
But again, yeah, that's his first move, and then now he wants to start cutting off the power to some of the northern states there, which I find slightly comical. But I mean, it is what it is, man. And blow for a blow.
Smile.
What did Big Smile say? Blow
Big
for a blow.
Smile, my man is in the chat. I always get excited when Big Smile is here. No more Fireball for Joe.
Yeah, well, I don't think I haven't drank Fireball in probably 20 years.
I don't even know what that is, bro.
You don't know what Fireball is?
No,
oh,
man.
Wow.
I don't drink that much.
You don't drink like that,
What's
man.
the base?
It's like Sailor Jerry's type stuff.
it
What
vodka?
No, it's a rum or a whiskey or
rum?
something like
All
that.
right.
Yeah, and it's flavorful, right? A little
Is it? Okay.
cinnamon.
I like
Cinnamon
dark
is
rum.
in
I like,
there.
it's a red one?
Yeah, it's red. Yeah,
Okay.
it's red. It's
Delicious, says Andre. I like that. I like
all
it.
right, now
Okay.
we know
I'm
what
drinking
Andre
again.
drinks.
I'm
yeah,
just
you're
joking.
Drinking. Yeah, I know you're drinking, man. No, yeah, off the drink. Off
Cinnamon,
The
says
yeah,
escape
yeah,
plan.
yeah. So
Cinnamon?
cinnamon in it. Yeah. it's
So
like cinnamon
doesn't
flavor.
Goldschlager have cinnamon in it? Or
I
am
don't know. I've never
mistaken?
drank it.
I'm not allowed to have Goldschlager, Joseph.
Why? What happened?
There's stories behind the prohibition on Sharif drinking Goldschlager. I'm not allowed. If my cousin was around right now, he'd tell you
it's like
stories. But I'm
Goldschlager.
prohibited from consuming any amounts of Goldschlager.
Oh my days! Here we go.
Oh, there
Sharif.
goes
Hey,
GB, Joseph.
Here we go. I gotta.
See it.
Oh wow! I just hit a bunch of buttons on my thing here. I don't even know what's happening now. Got way too excited. I missed that massive pop there on GV. Hopefully it can be sustained here, guys, because we got right back in it. It held those key levels, so I got right back in. We got extremely antsy and missed some of it. 15 cents, just like that. These names are absolutely insane, my guy. But there we go, breakthrough. We got out nice and early. I said, hey, let me be a little bit more patient on this pullback to see if we get that breakout. The buyer stepped in, and we got it. Whoever shout out GV, I don't trade these small caps, taking a page out of Sharif's book.
Hey, man, you're trading them better than me, man. I'm going to just have to get off the show right now. I'm being made to look real bad here.
Let's
No.
go.
Great trade, Joseph.
Man,
Shout
this
out
stuff
to you,
is
my
crazy, though. Look at that, right back down to where we started. Again, oh my days. We're going to get out of this name here. We took the majority of it off there, and then now that's crazy.
I'm loving some of the comments here at our Liquor Talk. Airy Pages, these mutual brothers know that alcohol is catabolic. Absolutely, Airy Pages. I try to stay from alcohol as much as I can. Sometimes a little bit easier said than done.
Yeah.
Can't agree more with you. Random oddities, like a hot tamale candy. Okay, yeah. I remember Goldschlager being quite spicy like that cinnamon kick. I don't know if the other one is like what you're saying, but New York, or native New York, excuse me, me too. On the blockchain, mine is Hennessy.
Yeah,
So that's his prohibition.
Yeah, same.
You too, huh?
Yeah. Just like, keep away from the cognac. I can't drink that stuff, man.
Can I tell you, I like bourbon. I like bourbon neat.
Like a nice
like
bourbon?
just with nothing.
Whiskey
nothing.
bourbon?
Yeah. Well, that's what it is.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Scotch and there's bourbon. Yeah, I like bourbon. I like bourbon neat, and I like to sip on it. I don't want to chug it when I do drink, and I don't feel like I get much of a hangover from that, believe it or not.
Yeah, I think the clear stuff doesn't give you a hangover too.
Well
If
said.
you just drink it neat. So yeah. As for that liquor stuff there, man. I don't even want to talk about. People are talking about Jaeger bombs. I don't even want to get into that. Yeah, I don't even know. Is it ever? You're telling me, like, me and my good friend, we used to have this challenge, and I'm not going to speak of it on here.
Yes, sir.
But yeah.
No. Now we have to hear about it.
It was called the 40 and 40, and it was not. We'll just put it. It was called the 40. I don't know if in the States here, but for all my Canadian friends, a 40 is what is it? A 1.5? Is it a 1.5 here? I believe, or something like that. So a 40 and 40. So yeah, and that's it. You can put 2 and 2 together. A 40 and 40 minutes with Jaeger bombs, a couple of Red Bulls, and yeah, that would get the party.
Joey
started for
40 hands says the OG Darwin. I like that.
40 and 40.
Look at
man.
Ozan. He's not even asking us to say China. He's like, yo, where's the e-signal ad read today? Ozan, let us do our job,
Okay,
bro.
all right, I see.
Ozan, man.
Ozan.
What's happening right now with the market says ditto, and we're moving back up, baby. That's exactly what's happening now. The NQ is up 0.63. It's been a weird day, guys. I mean, obviously, this is very much tariff related. Adair did bring us a news headline that Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada, did speak with Donald Trump today. We can't confirm that, but it's widely being speculated that there will be some sort of change in the tariff situation, whether it's on the sectors or industries to which they're applied or on the quantum, the percentage themselves. So we're going to have to wait to find out hopefully sooner rather than later, but we have a way typically of knowing whether something's good or bad, and that's by looking at price action, baby. Usually speaks volumes there. Mad World, Nvidia popping. Is it ever, baby? Above 117 it goes. Let's talk about it. Let's bring it in. So the monster Nvidia obviously has been shellacked lately as they, believe it or not, they make some stuff in Mexico as well. So they would have been subject to some tariffs there. Obviously, the China picture in focus as well, despite the fact that they're not, selling nearly as much as they used to China as a result of these exporting bans. So let's put in NVDA on the ticker. Let's have a look at the chart. So it looks as if, we dipped down a little bit. We're still below the pre-market high, guys. That pre-market high is around 119 a quarter, 119 a fifth, but we are above VWAP. We've got a gnarly trend going on essentially since 11:45, possibly the time that, the tariff news hit, not 100% sure. In addition to that, we definitely had resistance at 117. I think we've cleared that nicely there. We're still below the implied balance high. So the implied balance high is still that 118 technically HOD. That's the highest we printed all day on that move up. So Nvidia looking to recover here 1 1/3, and there's only one Mag 7 that's still red on the day. It goes by the ticker AAPL. But Joseph, it's like $4 off the low, bro.
Yeah, man.
So, more pleased I could not be, because getting shellacked in the long term is not something, I aspire for. So Apple, obviously my biggest, what's it called? Long-term holding. Anyway, Nvidia's on one right now. Joseph, we're about to take out that implied balance high. We are on the way here to 118 as the overall market curls. You got Amazon up 2%. Tesla's up 1 1/3. Goggles up 0.8. Meta up 1.8. Microsoft 2%, the best of the bunch, guys, with Netflix and Uber both in Greensville. They're not Mag 7 names, but I do keep them on the side chart, and I do incorporate them with the watch list there that I have for the mag. Now back to MLGO. So we were kind of singing this one's praise. Oh, look how many times it's bouncing off that $5 area. Look, this could break, right? We've got this kind of a rounding effect. It could be, a bit of a head and shoulders pattern here on the 5, with this being the left shoulder, the head, and then a bit of the right shoulder there, popping into 510. We shall see. I've already placed my stop. I'm positive on it. If we give up, a few shekels over here, I'll be okay with that. But I'm going to continue to hold it here because I saw this song and dance before with 470, where we kept moving into 470 only to be bought back up. We're kind of doing that same thing here with 5, where we clear 5, come back into it, get bought up. We shall see. And Packer patience. You're still. What are you doing over there?
I got a lot going on over here, man.
Right.
Yeah. You continue.
All right.
Yeah,
So we're going to continue to watch here with MLGO CDXC continuing to hang out at that 5 mid-80s, a little 90s, a little 80s. We're going to Packer patience on this. But Joseph was involved in this sick trade on GV, and look at this, Joe. Yeah. I mean, it came in like 2 pennies away from triggering my alert. So this didn't quite clear yet, that 295. I'm going to continue to pack my patience. I'm going to wait for 295 to get broken as a level, and that means obviously I won't have a good enough price, or as good of a price, I should say, but that's okay. I know that this one's already up 112% and probably can do more. I don't know if I gave you guys the deets on GV. Here are the deets, Joseph. 2.3 million share float. So needless to say, a very small float. Only about 3.5% of that 2 1/3 million shares is board for short, so not much of a short float to talk about, but we already have a big, or a little boy, I should say, float to help us with any parabolic moves. Back to MLGO, dipping below 5 again. It's going to have to hold up above 495 for me to stay interested. What do you got, Joseph?
Yeah, I mean, the mags are ripping, dude. Google is absolutely going through the roof here. So is Softy, as you guys like to call it. But nice breakout volume here on Google. I know someone mentioned it in the chat. That's why I'm bringing it up. And this is my second largest holding. So I want this stock to start performing a little bit better. And it's still trading at like 18 times, Shreve, which is absolutely insanely cheap relative to the street. So let's see if we can get a bounce. It sucks coming all the way off the highs of 207, down about 20% or so off this. Maybe a little bit less now, probably in the late teens. Here, so from where we are right now, yeah, about 16%. So down quite a hefty bit there, guys. Not something you necessarily want to be sitting through, but the market is really moving higher and higher here. So good stuff here, especially when the Mag 7 are trading well. Who's that there?
Just thought I'd get your attention.
Yeah, I like that.
You up. Yeah?
Yeah. You know Fafa Fitness?
No, you're for real though?
Yeah.
That's you're about that life?
Yeah.
Wow.
About all life, brother.
Oh man, you're a joker, bro. I love having you on the show, man.
You know what I mean?
You're a joke. Go ahead. Sorry.
All right, no, it's all good. Here we go. With IBIT, guys, we added to the position 5091. If you want to show the people what you show.
No, I'm not. I'm not going to show them
Right.
anything.
Yeah, all right. That's jokes. But anyways, here we go, guys. IBIT, I wanted it to crack through the high a day here. That's why I added to this position. We have a nice doji candle. So if we break that, then I'll get out of the trade because then the thesis is invalid and then I'm essentially at the break even. It wasn't a heavy add here, but I am looking for that break of the high, especially with the market continuing to move higher and higher there. That's the game plan. So yeah, if you guys know who Fafa Fitness is, then let me know.
I gotta Google it.
Yeah, Google. Yeah, Google it. Yeah, Google it. But yeah, she's extremely in great shape. But here we go, guys. These big names, Microsoft. Let's pull it up here. Starting to climb off these lows. We were referring to the stock not too long ago because that how much has been hindered, right? For essentially over a year now, it's been just trading within this range with a couple false breaks and then had the inability to hold some of these trends to the top side. Well, some of the other Mag 7, like with the likes of what would I say? Google, Meta, and Apple constructing new all-time highs. This name just chopped around sideways. So a lot has to do with AI spend here and the street not liking it, but we're starting to recover here really, really well in the Mag 7, and that's what we want to see. We were oversold on the RSI and on the put-to-call ratio as well, too, guys. So it was almost imminent that we were going to get this bounce. It just had to be patient and wait for it because we weren't just going to go completely down to to zero. That's essentially almost impossible. Wall Street would collapse at that point. But when these big names are down double-digit percentages, that's when you want to start looking for these bounces. And that's what we're starting to get here today, Sharif, in these big names.
Sounds good. Your GV's taking off here, Joseph.
Is it? Wow.
There it goes through the top.
Wow.
It's now at 295. Well, hold on. Excuse me. We're very close to that high of day. The high there is 93. Technically, the high of day is 95. So we're right there, man. Great call out by you, Joe. Good trade, man. Into 95s we go. Keep your eye out on GV. It is a big boy name, is Visionary Holdings. They're about an $11 million market cap, 10.8 technically. Visionary Holdings is a Canada-based private education provider which offers education resources to students around the world. The company, through its subsidiaries, is primarily engaged in education-related business, which includes high school education programs, real estate development, and the like. So good look there. Still a little bit into the 80s. We're going to keep an eye out on this one for a nice move up. Definitely interested in getting involved on this monster, but going to back our patience till that 95 break. And still involved in this one, though. Disappointed with myself. I was trying to add over here. I was trying to be thrifty where I added. I tried to get 98s. It didn't let me into 98s. It was a 2-penny spread at the time, and right back into 507 it goes. It's still holding 5, and there is a buyer at 5, give or take. Okay, you can go a little bit lower into 97s, 98s, something like that. But there is a buyer in this area, so I'm quite interested in continuing to reload into 5, especially if we can start making higher highs. Now, that higher high has come above that 510. 510 has been a bit of an elusive level for the moment anyway, since 12:30. So right now, it is 1 o'clock exactly. It's 1 o'clock exactly. So it's time to do the playmaker.
Let's fire it up here, my guy. I was just looking about it, just about to pull it up as well, too. So.
Yeah, shout out to Jay Lee. He's at a boil. He took $1.25 in profit off 101. Wish you joined me, but it's all good, Jay. You know I'm obsessed with these small cap gappers, my man. But shout out to you, Jay. You know I got the long term now. It's got nat gas.
Dang.
Not the long term, but the swing technically in there. But it could find its way into the long term if it keeps going up. So shout out to you, Jay. Keeping nat gas in focus for me, no doubt about it. Joseph.
No. Sorry, I've been just, man, you know what? I'm amazed at all the data points here. That's why I'm like just looking at this. It's just like, man, you want to create a trading system, you want to create a trading playbook. This is what you want to see, right? It's like you have the data to back what you're doing, all right?
There you go.
It's either it works or it doesn't, and I'm fascinated by that. But 56, now I'm ready, my guy.
All right, 580.45.
580.45. We're in and out a tough spot here.
Holy, it's flying up, dude.
Okay,
I just 45 and it printed 80s. Okay.
Bang.
Yeah, so now we're taking profits, Joseph, at 582.45.
Bang.
And then we're stopping out 570.45.
579.
Excuse me, 579.
$10 stop there, man. It would have been $1,000. 579.
Here? I'm going with Bob.
45 there to the long side there. What a landslide W. We're in right at when we're supposed to be here, guys. 1 o'clock on the dot here. So good luck from everybody. Thank you for participating in the Playmaker poll. We much appreciate that. 100 shares. And we got some data to catch up on. But guys, I just want to emphasize one more time. I know a lot of people in the chat messaged me for this context or for the platform and everything or for how we have our layout and the data that we collect. This is as simplistic as it gets. You can make it as complicated as you want to. But in order to be successful in this game, whether it be for a couple of months or a month, you want to start collecting data like this. And it's really going to help you refine your system, and it's going to help you hone out what works for you and then what doesn't work for you, right? That's the whole purpose of this. You're literally writing it. It takes you 30 seconds to do so in the day, right? When I remember when I was a kid, my grandparents used to tell me, just do it. It'll only take you a couple minutes, right? So just do it. It's only going to take you a couple minutes, and then eventually over a couple months, you're going to have a data set like this, and you can be like, hey, look what I've done, and this is what I did, and I promise you at the end of the day, whether it be 1%, 2%, or even a little bit more than that, it's going to improve your day-to-day trading, all right, guys? That's it.
That's some, yeah, dude, can I tell you?
Yeah.
Well, like towards last year, I wanted to like put new kind of habits into my day. So I listen to my ebooks, right? I do my stuff in the morning, my routine in the morning, the session in the morning. Then we got, the session during the day. Then I go to my other work, blah, blah, blah. The point is, I was always putting off a lot of these little things that I wanted to add, or I was doing them inconsistently. And so I kept telling myself, I'm like, oh, it's only 15 minutes of your day. It's only 20 minutes of your day. And you do that once, twice, and then you get that habit forming. So
exactly.
I gotta agree with that 100%.
1,000%. And one thing that I was telling myself too, Sharif, is that I would rather just do it than sit there for the next couple hours being like, oh, should I do it? Should I do it? Or I wish I did it.
And I would.
Right? Right? Exactly. And it's like, oh, I wish I did that. Well, just go and do it, man. Just go and just do it. We're doing it live, man.
Hey, there we go.
Or that, you remember that Shia LaBeouf one? It was like, just do it.
No, I don't remember.
You don't remember that Shia LaBeouf when he kind of...
He's a unique guy.
Just do it. Yeah, he's very unique. One of my favorite actors, to be honest.
He's great. I like the
Disturbia,
Didn't he get into a fight with people or something like that?
Yeah, he's fighting people. Yeah, in somewhere.
I just remember him. Good guy.
Yeah.
Shout out to Nimrod, my man. Shout out to 3590 shekels. Do you guys have a lesson on leveraging? I personally don't. I don't know if Joseph does. Not too much that I know about that. I don't know if you're talking about margin accounts. Are you talking about margins or taking levered products like levered ETFs? I don't know if that's what you mean, Nimrod. You don't have to super chat again. Just tag Joseph and I, explain what you meant by that, and I'm sure we'll give you a better answer. Shout out to Nimrod.
A lot of good feedback. A lot of good feedback in the consistency in life, man. And consistency. If it like Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, I just botched his name, but he's a Canadian basketball player, and he does an interview, and they're like, how are you so consistent? And he's like, my life is consistency, everything I do from my day-to-day practice, and if you want to be one of the greats,
absolutely,
that's what you have to do.
Los Polos Hermanos, I like your habit philosophy, just need to work on it. Get it, my man. There's just start it. It feels annoying at first, like, oh, why do I have to do this? But to me, that feeling was kind of outdone by the feeling of actually accomplishing something. Felt a little bit better. That's kind of how I kept that there. D-Loaf, come on. That one's a classic. I don't know, bro. I told you. I'm out of touch. That's my thing. Sharif, like 10X. But what do you mean, Nimrod? Are you talking about options that are levered? Are you talking about ETFs? Are you talking about borrowing from your broker on margin to buy more stocks? Explain what you mean by leverage, though. Because I think leverage has different meanings in different contexts, at least the way I understand it. Banger Plays, I like that name.
Yeah,
what SMAs do you use on your 5-minute? I don't use SMAs. They're all exponential. They're all EMAs. And the reason I use EMAs is because when I'm trading in front of you guys, we're intraday trading. So I want to more heavily weight the recent price action. Now, when I chart at home and I'm doing my investing analysis, I got SMAs up on a chart. The simple moving average. I think those are better for the longer term plays, for the longer term holds. At least that's how I see things. So I keep the exponentials on the intraday charts that you guys see, and I have my simples at home. But to answer your question, I keep 4 different moving averages on all my charts. The green, will be the 10 exponential moving average. If I'm looking at getting in on a strong stock, it's usually off the 10. Then I have the 20 for the deeper retracements that sometimes pull off the 20. And then I have the 50 and the 200. Now, I don't usually use those intraday, but when I'm looking at something on the 4 hour, the hour, or even the daily, sometimes I'll throw that on there, right? So I'll use the 50, I'll use the 200. So I keep them on there just, as a matter of habit, but I don't typically use them on an intraday basis, nor do I really feel price action bounces off the 50 intraday. I could be wrong. There could be people that use it intraday. I personally am not one of those people. I use the 10 and the 20. That's my look there. Joe's cool uncle. Are you see this, bro?
There, oh, no, go back.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, that's all right. Put back up there.
Shia LaBeouf. Get it, Shia.
do it.
What do we got over there?
Yeah, he was like, we're doing it. Just do it.
Yeah, you could tell he's
he's
got that look in his eyes, huh?
you
Like
know what
that.
I mean?
You don't want to get this guy on a bad day. Like he could ruin.
When he's been in the pub for a while or something.
Love it. Joe, thanks if you see. Shout out to Joe's cool uncle. I love that name, man.
Hilarious, man.
Sounds good, man. We're loving it. We're loving it. We're doing it live up in this place.
Doing it live.
So that's the look right there. Still involved, guys, in the same names. MLGO, we're 1 penny out of the money, 2 pennies out of the money. As we're printing 99s, I get stopped out through 95s, holding on to a tiny little piece. Essentially, the trade, the better part of the trade is behind me. This one is boring me to death. Come on, CDXC. Either just stop me out or break through 9. It looks like I may get that stop. I think we are basically
cool
as low as we've been recently here, Joseph, breaking through some of these levels. So CDXC on the way, likely to getting stopped out here as some of these small cap gappers are now curling back down and looking to kind of give back the ghost. Now, CDXC, I got in at 63s, but the volume weighted average price is at $0.50. So I will get stopped out if we actually break below the 60 penny area. But I don't mind adding to this at the $0.50 if it shows proof that it's going to hold up at VWAP as a level of resistance. I don't mind doing that. We'll obviously go flat on the little bit that we have here if we break 60. But again, I don't mind punching back in at the $0.50 if it is warranted to do so. I'm keeping an eye on GV, still below that 295, so I'm going to pack my patience and see if we can take something on that.
Oh, wow.
The market turning back down a little bit over here. Let's talk about this.
Yeah, we got stopped out real quick, Sharif. That might be the quickest stop out of
Wow,
all
man.
time.
Is Donald talking again? What's going on over here? Trump Commerce Secretary deal likely to include some tariff exemptions for Canada and Mexico, possibly including autos. Okay, that I think we already knew about that. So we shall see what the situation is. MLGO came back down aggressively. Why didn't it stop me out? Oh, it's at VWAP right now. Interesting. Okay, so we did get stopped out there. It just, it took a little bit of time. Adara, what's up? Oh, you're muted, Adara. Yep.
Sorry about that, guys. Keep an eye on the market. So basically, we have Donald Trump posting here on Truth Social's preferred platform, confirming some things we heard earlier, that Trump did talk to Trudeau today. He said that basically they discussed, Trump said he's still concerned about fentanyl coming through the border and that nothing has convinced him that it's stopped. Trudeau said it's gotten better. Trump said that's not good enough. And he did say, though, the call ended in a, quote, somewhat friendly manner. He also said that he wanted to know when the Canadian election was happening there and said, last but not least, good luck, Justin. So this comment here coming from Donald Trump says a lot less about the overall state of tariffs and just more about kind of recapping their conversation beat by beat. That's what happened here. Donald Trump saying, though, that it did end on, quote, a somewhat friendly manner, though it sounds like they came to zero impasse or agreement when it comes to tariffs themselves. So that is on note. They did speak today. Also, Trump said, I guess Trudeau asked him what could be done about tariffs, but it sounds like Trump did not give him an answer on that. So to recap, Trump, Trudeau talked. It does not sound like we have any solution when it comes to tariffs, guys. Back to you.
As always. So, I mean, it'd be nice if he could just not truth something out for maybe a week or two and just let the markets cool down. But I guess he can't. He doesn't have it in himself to do so. But here we go. We know that they're going to probably ease some tariffs on the car industry here, guys. Manufacturing costs can get a little hefty, and we need one another on that front. And then, yeah, so we got stopped out of IBIT, unfortunately, on that heavy downtick in the market. So we'll just keep that in mind as well too. So volatility is there. Gaurav is right. It's at this time in this style of market, it's like, okay, get your moves and then just get out, right? And just be thankful for what you've got, because you don't know what's going to come here shortly. But let's see what Adair's up to.
More tariff talk, guys. So we currently have Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick speaking right now. He said that Trump is leaning towards helping out automakers for 1 month. So that's basically confirming the reports we already heard that they are considering, but they've not decided on yet, considering delaying these Mexico and Canada tariffs for 1 month, specifically for automakers. And again, that has not yet been confirmed or decided upon. Also, Howard Lutnick did say with regards to tariffs that will be, quote, a short period of time where there are high prices on certain items. So confirming, much like Trump said, there's going to be a little bit of turbulence in the markets after these tariffs come to pass. Also, apparently, a source from Canada is reporting that U.S. and Canada are going to continue talking about tariffs today. So tariff discussions continuing, reportedly, after we had Trump share his Truth Social post about his talks with Trudeau of Canada. Back to you.
Again there, Adara. So yeah, you guys can see the volatility really kick in this market, especially when he has something to say regarding these tariffs. We know how sensitive it is, right? Whether it be, and the thing is though, I was thinking about this the other day, and I want to hear your guys' opinion as well too, right? Shower thought, and I think a lot of traders can agree with something, right? So when the market is trading really well or really bad, it will either find something to like good news or bad news, whatever, it will find something to kind of reduce that stuff, right? You don't want to have too much euphoria in the market, and you don't want to be too down as well too. So when we were in that phase of when good news is bad news and when bad news is good news, right? Like with the labor market, cooling inflation, et cetera, whatever it may be, and the economy cooling down, it's like, okay, we've been on a 2-year bull run at this standpoint. What is that next factor that's going to cool the market down and kind of bring everybody back into reality and say, hey, we can't just go up all the time? And sure enough, it will find something in order to do so. And in this case, it is tariffs, right? So in the likes of before, we had COVID. So COVID sold everything off, right? Rightfully so. And then after that, we had monetary policy really start to kick in, another excuse. And then now we have this tariff talk when we were at extreme highs and the market put in just like day after day, it was putting in a new all-time high. So there it is. It's a cyclical effect of the market, and get used to it if you want to be in this game for a long time.
Absolutely, Joseph. Let's talk about some of these Mag 7 names now that we have the market really curling up here. See what's strong and see what's weak. So a fantastic look to the high side here for Meta. I mean, Meta's up 1 2/3. It's really the Meta and Microsoft show. No, that's not fair. Amazon's up as well, big time. 2%, 2.1% for Amazon. That's the biggest name on the day in Mag 7 world. Then you got Microsoft next here, trading near highs. So very similar charts here between comparing Amazon, Meta and Microsoft. They all have up and to the right movements and then this consolidative range that they seem to find themselves in, and now we're trading almost at the high of the day. So great look for these names. Now you see some laggards. Tesla, Apple, these look like they are lagging behind, but also Nvidia as well. So Nvidia is not a bad name or anything like that. It's up 0.75% on the day. But when you compare it to the actual other charts of Amazon, Meta, Microsoft, not nearly as strong, not as good, not as directionally to the high side, and well off the highs. When you compare that to the Microsoft chart where we're printing at the highs, well, we're about $1 below the highs right now on Nvidia. So Nvidia, a bit of a weaker name at the moment. Not bad, obviously, but if you're looking for strength on these here markets in the Mag 7, you're looking probably at Meta, Microsoft, and Amazon. Google shouldn't be disrespected either. 1%. It's not up percentage-wise as much as these others, but it definitely has a fantastic look through 173. I'm being passed the sticky note by the Katina man, and I've been told to read something. And I know which one it's going to be. It's going to be 169 Google long, baby. Let's have a look at where Google bottomed.
How did you get a hold of that?
Today. I was passed to it by the Katina man.
Oh.
So it says Google, 169 long, market pulling back, but with a nice bounce back day. What's the low of the day today, Katina man, on Google?
I'm long currently at 169.25.
He's long 169.25. Katina man, you could have had 169.08. The link is in the chat. Get it, brother. Great trade there. Good look, Katina man. Fantastic look on Google. Fantastic look on the Mag 7 in general as they recover. I know that there is, people like the market to go south. I'm not one of those people. So we will celebrate when the market goes up, and more pleased I could not be. But let me tell you how displeased I am right now with my MLGO trade. I'm displeased because I feel I was the weak hand here. I was forced out. I had a wicked trade, and this trade over here is going to haunt me at night. Why? Because I was waxing poetic about how respectful this one is of previous areas of resistance acting as support. And for the most part, it was. But if you were dumb enough like me to place your stop right a couple of pennies below that support level, previous resistance, you got a specialist breakdown. What does that mean? That means you push the price a couple of shekels below that obvious area of support, stop everybody out, take everybody's money, and then make that new high. That's exactly what happened here on MLGO. So it was defending 5 generally, but if you had your eye on that 490, which is what I did, right, because that was a resistance area, so I was gauging it as support, you got pushed out. Because look what it did. It dipped all the way down into 486. So you got to draw the line somewhere. It's either going to be 490, 489, 488. You got to draw the line somewhere. Sometimes you get lucky, it doesn't trigger you out because your stop is a little bit below it. Sometimes you don't get that lucky because then it stops you out. Your stop's a little bit higher. So this one, MLGO, is what I'm talking about right now, on its way back into that 5 1/5, with the ultimate high being that 528. Going to keep my eye on this one. I don't think it's done trading yet. But this one is coming down into my entry price, CDXC. We only have a few beak wetters left on this one. If this dips below 60, that is going to be the end of the trade. But again, I don't mind getting in at the $0.50. It's going to have to prove to me, though, that the $0.50, which is also VWAP, is going to be respected as that level of support. So I don't mind waiting till that $0.50 comes in, packing my patience. Let's see if it holds up here, Joseph.
Hey,
Joseph's cool uncle.
Yeah, Joe's
I really
cool
like
uncle.
that
Yeah,
one.
man, Joe's cool uncle. Yeah, my uncle's cool, man.
My uncle's cool. My uncle's
Yeah, he got some cool uncles. Yeah, but here we go, guys. I've been sitting in this. We pulled back a little deeper than what we anticipated, but that's okay. The volatility's in, and we're just tapping on the door of those key resistance zones in Bitcoin. So it's going to take a little bit of momentum. We're all waiting for Friday. There's going to be some news on Friday regarding crypto and what's going to happen with that, all right? So I think this is going to be an extremely huge move in this name if it does decide to want to go to the upside. But what we want to monitor here is this support zone, all right? So in this support zone, you're going to need a lot to break through this, right? We have multiple touches on this in this underlying asset, and then eventually we crack through, but we are now retesting that. So what do we do? We need new participants to step in and volume really start to appreciate this, right? We need demand at higher levels, and we don't necessarily see that right now. We know Michael Saylor's buying up a storm, but if this reserve comes into play, then what Sharif was mentioning yesterday with the FOMO aspect in countries, it can really just ignite a flame, and this can really lead you into those mid-100s. I don't want to get too ahead of myself because we have to crack through key levels before we even get to there. But I mean, here, we got to break 90, then we have to break the previous all-time high of around 110. But then when you get into new price discovery is when, like, oh, okay, people really start to get the fear of missing out. Retail, you know, retail is going to be involved in this. Institutions are starting to adapt it more as well too, right? So you're starting to see that 1% allocation into some portfolios. And if that just continues to grow, which I believe it will, because now you have more of a safe aspect here of buying it on the markets, you can hedge against positions, you can buy the futures, you can sell options, you can sell puts, you can buy puts, you can buy calls, etc. There's so many ways to utilize this vehicle now that the adaptation to this is just going to continue to grow and grow and grow. It's unfortunate that we chopped around in these ranges for so long and didn't really just continue and just have a nice steady appreciation. But that's what comes with this name. You're going to get those volatile times. You know, we went up to previously, if we go back in the history of it, it's like, okay, we traded significantly higher. We were up to 70,000 and then we traded all the way down to 16,000. So it comes with the name. Just be prepared for what is to come. And all you can do is look to participate in, whether it be a bullish bias or a bearish bias there.
Yeah, absolutely, Joseph. Keeping my eye on MLG over here. It's continuing to break out, man. Feeling awfully silly. Let's see if it can get above that 528. It's putting in higher highs and higher lows. It has basically a candle of indecision, the one that printed at a quarter after the hour. I'm talking about this one right here. You know, basically no direction, but the subsequent candle very green, but still below that area top on the previous candle at 520, so showing 514s right now. I weaseled into a new position here on EOSE. I perceive this to be a possible area hold at a previous area of resistance. Let's see if it's support. This area crest over here at 470 has been defended on occasions. When we dipped above, when we got to 476, excuse me, we dipped back down into 470, held it. We have a bit of a double bottom here, albeit on the one at 470. So what I've done is I've got in at 73. I'm going to give it a really tight stop. If it doesn't hold 75, then I've basically almost lost nothing on the trade. But we can definitely move a lot higher into that high a day. So it's a good risk to reward ratio on EOSE. It's up 19.8%, almost 20%. My only concern with this one is the volume is a little, it's a little late. So it's a $4 name. It's got about 8.5 million shares, which in of itself is not bad. But when you look at that volume bars on the, when you look at the volume bars on the bottom, we're down and to the right. So we're dropping in volume, not increasing in volume. MLGO trying to make an attempt at that 5 1/5 again at that 20 penny area. It looks like there are buyers stepping in here with aggression. So good look, up 25%, still below that half or that fifth of a dollar though. Gonna pack my patience for anything on that one. With respect to CDXC, my best trade of the day, but we got stopped out break even on that drop of 60. I'm still packing my patience to see, does it want to come into that 50 penny area and hold at VWAP? Technically on my chart, VWAP's at 48, but you know, when it's at 48s, 50s, same difference. I don't mind getting in at 50s, you know, with 48 being VWAP. We're going to throw an order out there. Actually, I'm not going to throw an order out. I need proof that this is going to hold up. So I'm going to pack my patience to see if that $0.50 level, if VWAP on CDXC is going to be respected or not. It was a rejection of 9. I mean, we tried to break through 9. The last time we were above 9 was 11:30. That is about 2 hours ago. We had multiple attempts on CDXC at 9, all of which failed. And then the sellers took over, pushing this bad boy with that kind of arching look all the way down. It looks like to be here to the $0.50 or VWAP. Also, keeping my eye, no question about GV. Good look there, 295 HOD, still below that level, but holding the 10 exponential moving average quite well with these higher lows. And all the wicks below the 10 have been bought up for now. So that's in play. TNXP, a bit of a lighter trade though today, but it's just broke the highs. So 1037 HOD, did we break? You know, we haven't broken the highs. That's still a 10 a.m. high, 1037. We're there right now. Where do we get up to? 1035. It's got a bit of a wider spread. As you can see that, we were just printing 36s and we dipped down into 24s. So about a 10 penny spread or so on TNXP, but a respectable percentage move up on the day, up 31.25%. So lots to talk about today. Not a lot of bad names. Most of these small cap gappers didn't give up the ghost in the way that we've seen these bad boys trade before. So I'm packing my patience here. It looks like CDXC is going to bounce here off the volume weighted average price. So here's what I'm going to do.
What?
I'm going to weasel in small amounts of shares, or am I? No, I'm not, Joseph. I'm going to stick to my plan here.
Okay.
I'm going to wait for a VWAP bounce, come hell or high water. We ain't getting in until it proves itself. MLGO, back to MLGO before we send it back to Joe. Showing 20s again. 20s is the area we rejected last time. And in fact, we haven't had any closing prints, whether on the 5 or the 1 or whatever, above 20, despite the fact that we wicked into 28 and we got the print there at 24s, right? The point is, though, we haven't been able to stay for any, discernible period above 20. Seems like there is selling in and around there. Let's see if we can get above there on a closing basis, guys. Let me know when. Yeah, so we're going to go to Adair with news.
30 seconds.
No worries, Adair. I didn't mean to catch you off guard there. We're going to continue to watch here. MLGO rejecting 20 again. Not surprised there, Joseph, as that level has been a rinse and repeat resistance level on the day. How's the IBIT? How's Rigetti? My man's killing it.
Yeah, I'm at an IBIT. I got back into it, to be honest with you, to see if we can bounce off the volume weighted average price. So I know you're being patient. So that's what I had to do too. Wait for this little phase out here and then look to get back in. We're going to talk a little bit more about Rigetti because they report after the bell, and some IBIT right after we get back from Madeira.
Sorry for the wait there. We do have Caroline Leavitt here. This is the White House press secretary. She's currently doing a briefing right now. She's just talking about Trump's speech last night. But if there's anything else of note, I will let you guys know. I do think it's worth noting, though, that she is speaking. So some answers could be added here. I'm sure some questions could be added as well about tariffs, potentially the crypto reserve. If any of these things come up, I will let you guys know urgently. Back to you.
What do you got over there?
Yeah, Rigetti here. So guys, you can see that we're starting to form some higher lows on this name. We are reporting after the bell. So is this company finally going to start making some money? Maybe we'll find that out after when they report. But here we go. We're slowly curling up as well too. But we know that we have this kind of ascending wedge starting to form here, and that's what we want to play. So the price is starting to really compress, and then now we're forming those higher lows, and we have that definitive base, our top side, which is acting as resistance. If we can punch through that with volume and momentum, then that's when you start to look for the next target, and that's going to bring you around that 805. So this pivot is going to be key as well too in order for us to punch through this. And I mentioned time and time again, these names were in play. The quantum space was in play for an extended period of time, well, not extended, but for a good solid month or two here, all right, guys? So a month to be exact. So once that volume really started to kick in, the 6th of December, and then we peaked around the 7th of January, all right? So about a solid month that these names are really in play. Can we continue to move in that trajectory? As of right now, we haven't displayed that we can. We need these reports, and we need them to be relatively strong. So that's what we're going to wait for. But as of right now, again, if we get that cult-like type price action in these quantum spaces, then I'm going to look to participate. And that's where I think we're sitting in our GTI. Now I'm back into some IBIT as well too here, guys, around 50.84, okay? So what I'm going to look here on this VWAP hold is now we can draw a trend line because we have multiple touches on this name, and then we're going to look for that to hold. If it breaks it, then there can be potentially more downside. But what we're going to aim for here is that high a day, or this this previous pivot high here around 51.40, and that's the target, right? So when you have a setup like this, you want to aim into new price discovery or go to where there was prior resistance or support, because sometimes you get that magnetic effect in the underlying assets. Now let's pull up RGTI and see where I'm sitting at. I'm not positioned the best, but what we can do is we can draw our trend lines. I'm not overly heavy either, so that's something to note. But once it breaks that 75.85, right, and open up below the volume weighted average price, then the thesis is wrong. Price is compressing. We already know that. I mentioned it multiple times because we have the resistance zones and we have those higher lows. So which way is it going to break? Which way is the volume going to step in? Yes, I may be in a little bit early, but that's okay. As we form higher lows, I do believe that the buying pressure is there and it's displayed in the trend line. So once we break 75.95, then I think we can continue to climb higher. Now, everybody in the chat, let me know what you guys are looking at. We'll go over a couple of things. We have MongoDB, I believe, reporting after the bell. MDB, MongoDB reporting after the bell as well. Zscaler was actually one of my bigger trades that I had after the bell. Yeah, after earnings. So Zscaler, I like Zscaler, and Marvell as well too, guys. So those are the names that I'd be keeping an eye on. Marvell, Rigetti Computing, MongoDB, and Zscaler. So while we're at it, we may as well take a look at some of the expected moves here. Because that's what we like to look for. And then when we look at the expected move, what do we do after that, guys? You know, it's essentially a routine. Bang. We go on the options chain and we look for the highest levels of open interest. Now, let's see which ones are going to give me the expected move that I'm looking for. So RGTI, probably not going to get it in that one, but that's okay. Oh, okay, here we go. So beautiful here, guys. So so the options market has about a 15.5 implied move here, 15.5% implied move here on Rigetti Computing. So that's going to put us at a high of around $9.11, and then a low of around $6.67. All right, so that's kind of the range that you're looking for. Now let's take a look at the options chain and see where we have the highest levels of open interest. RGTI. And again, so we want something that's eye-popping, something that really stands out to us. And as of right now, what I'm looking at, we don't have that, okay? So the highest level is at $9. So at that $9 strike price, we have about 9,000 open contracts, okay? So nothing crazy. And then the next level will be at that whole dollar being 10 with about 8.4 thousand open contracts. Now, to the downside, the highest that we have is at that 7, right around that expected move that we talked about just a couple of seconds ago. 6.6 open contracts right now. So the open interest is about 6.61. And then now let's take a look at Marvell, and see what we got for an expected move here. So, guys, we're looking at about a 11% expected move on Marvell. That's going to put us at a high of around 98 and then a low of around 78. So what do we do next? It's just rinse and repeat. We're going to pull up Marvell and we're going to look for key zones to find the most open interest. Now, it's not it's not overly liquid or anything along those lines. It's not, I guess, not a popular options contract, but right around that expected move. So what did I say? 97.95 is the high of the expected move, which is exactly 11%. And where do we have the most levels of open interest? Right at that 100. Okay, no, 95, all right? So 95 is that next level with 5.1 open contracts. We'll go over the rest there, MongoDB and the other one, right after we get back from my guy, Sharif.
Yeah, Nvidia back at VWAP, guys, rejecting that 118. That was a nice attempt there by Nvidia to take out that implied balance high. But as we were talking about earlier, the market taking a bit of a pullback now, rejecting, I believe, 20,000. Well, we got above 20,500 on the NQ. We actually almost got to 20,600, but we are on our way down. So there is a support level here at the 20,450. Let me bring in the side chart so I can speak about it. There it is. Show yourself. There we go. Let's flip to the one. Can I show you what I'm talking about there? Look at this buy up there. So we got bought up there at 12:30. We got bought up again at 12:10. And here we are again at that same level, 20,450. It has been an interesting support level on the day, but you know, we'll see. We'll see. I just have my concerns about the market in general today. Well, for obvious reasons, but we are looking like we're going to bounce right here. So this could be an interesting move on the future right now, and by extension of that, obviously the MEG, because they always look at the future. So here we go. We're below the volume weighted average price right now on Nvidia. But we got a bit of a hammer candle working, and the deal is that the closing print on Nvidia and VWAP are awfully close. We're talking about 116.01 or 2 or something like that as the closing print, with the volume weighted average price being essentially at 10s or 12s. So I like when these levels overlap because, if it's going to be support, it kind of doubles up as a possible area of support. Kind of a hammer candle forming right now. Boom.
Dang.
Look at that. Take it up right up to the upside. Oh, what's going on over there, Katina, man? You're long Nvidia, aren't you?
That was insane. I didn't know what was going on there.
Yeah, no.
I had to turn over.
You weren't sure.
I'm like, yo. I'm like, hey, yeah, please, man. I did that.
Get it, Joe.
Tight
Joe's
here.
gonna get. Yeah, I'm a little tight. The traps. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Nvidia's popping up, guys. Okay, not a bad one.
Hey, feel that?
My man's on this. Oh, wow. Okay.
Watch out.
115.82. We were at the same 5-minute candle. 115.82. Now we're back up to 116.82. So $1 quick as you like that on NVDA. Good move up here. We got a nice move up on, let's see if we're getting a move up on the future as well. But back above 20,500 we go. So we're already up. We were just down to 50 points. Now we're popping up 75 points just like that. Adara, what the hell is going on?
Honestly, not that much. It was just a confirmation of what we already heard. Caroline Leavitt, who is Donald Trump's press secretary, she's been talking. This is the first thing she's even said that's remotely market moving. She said that Donald Trump still wants these tariffs, but because they did talk to some of these people, specifically within the big three automakers, they're going to be waiting 1 month out of respect for those individuals. So we heard reports they talked to big three automakers. That's been confirmed. 1 month hold there for auto tariffs. It looks like all the other tariffs, though, are going to continue because, quote, Donald Trump will not stop standing for the American people. So if I see anything else of note, I will let you guys know. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Adara. Yeah, we're keeping an eye on that. I'm still keeping my eye on EOS. Took a bit of a print there. Still zigging and zagging right now, holding general support, but not popping off to the high side. EOS is the one I'm talking about. It's the only trade I've got on left. I feel like this might actually lose support, so we'll be looking to extract some profits, maybe a little bit higher than here, Joseph. What do you got?
Yeah, I'm just kicking up here in RGTI. We got some bills to pay here shortly. Let me know when we're ready to go there, Andre. But here we go, guys. RGTI looking like it wants to break out here. It held the base of the trend line really well and now climbing higher.
Andre.
So if we got in a little bit lower, that would have been nice. But again, I think we're positioned half decently. It's only about 10 cents ago that we're going to risk on this trade. So if we can break through this resistance zone that I previously mentioned, then I think we're going to be sitting pretty. But guys, you know what time it is?
What time?
It's e-signal. New traders, listen up. First month, free. That's right. We're waiving fees, folks. Trade smarter, not harder. Upgrade to Elite. Analyze, strategize, and most definitely capitalize, guys. Our platform, it's everything infinite. Data, instant trading, lightning fast market insights, game-changing charts, folks. Predict with back testing. That's really important. Reliable and real-time data, global markets at your fingertips, all in one. One platform, guys, e-signal. Don't miss out. Execute your best trades now. Ready to elevate your trading? Scan the QR code or check the link in the description. Neil and Sean use it all the time. Sharif's been absolutely abusing it now at this point, just taking pure advantage of the platform and loving it. So good look there, guys, on that front. So e-signal, scan the QR code. I know who was in the chat was waiting for the e-signal ad read.
Ozan.
Ozan was waiting for the
And
e-signal.
there he is. Look, true to form. Look at this guy, bro.
Ozan,
Finally, e-signal. This guy.
Here we go,
He cracks me up,
Ozan.
man.
Yeah,
And
we
the
did it just
Katina
for
man hit
you,
the
yeah.
cash cow for you. You can always go to the description. Ozan, if you're
There you
feeling
go.
midday, you're going through e-signal withdrawals, you got to get your e-signal fix because the
Get the
hand's shaking a
e-signal
little
fix,
bit.
yeah.
Just hit the link in the description
Good stuff.
to get that. We're going to Derek.
There.
So we are having, I just want to recap in case anyone was confused by that move in the market. So we had this pop, Caroline Leavitt, who is the press secretary for the U.S., she said that basically confirming these reports, Donald Trump has, or the administration has spoken to some of these big three automakers. So auto tariffs are going to have a 1 month delay, but they will still take place. She also confirmed, though, that there will be these reciprocal tariffs on April 2nd. So reciprocal tariffs confirmed, but auto tariffs delayed for a month. That could be why we had some of that mixed reaction in the market there. Just to do a quick recap. Still listening to her. If anything else is said, I'm letting you guys know. Back to you.
Thank you for that, Adara. Yeah, great news there. Yeah, Carolyn Levitt, we can see her there on CNBC. Will give 1 month tariff exemption on any autos coming through USMCA. That's good news for Ontario, the province where we live, because a lot of our exports that go to the United States are auto related. I mean, we have an entire area, Southern Ontario, we call it the Golden Horseshoe. Essentially, it's littered with factories that either export cars or export material for assembly in the United States. So our premier, which is like the equivalent of the governor, was up in arms about this because he knew how much it would affect that industry. And we've built basically the last half century trying to build that up. So to change that overnight would have been crazy and probably untenable. So he was really worried about that. I know a lot of people here were really worried about that. It's sadly changed sentiment about, Americans in this country. There's a lot of, dissatisfaction with what he's doing. That's the nature of the beast, though. I mean, they're going to look out for themselves, or we'll look out for ours. So we're going to continue to wait and see how that all plays out. And hopefully something better can come from this, something that's equally advantageous for Canada and for the United States. So we'll continue to watch and report on it, obviously. 1 month is peanuts. Come on, Eddie, at least it moves the needle, brother. I know it kicks the can down the road, but it creates a wider window or a bigger window of opportunity to strike a deal. I know we got nothing done. I know it was supposed to be February 1st, and then we kicked the can down to March 3rd. Nothing happened in the intervening period. Not for Canada's lack of trying, guys, because we were calling, but no one was picking up the phone on the other side. Adara.
More tariff things. So Caroline Leavitt was just asked about that Trump comment from last night, saying that there would be a little disturbance, but we're okay with that when it came to tariffs. So Caroline Leavitt basically said this should be fine because Donald Trump is telling the truth. Things might get difficult, but that tariffs and ending the inflation nightmare are going to help with that. So we also, though, this is the other thing, World Trade Organization announcing that Canada has initiated a World Trade Organization dispute complaint with regards to U.S. tariffs. So Canada's not happy with these tariffs. They've actually filed a complaint against the U.S. with the WTO. So more tariff things on watch, guys. Back to you.
Yeah, the WTO is an interesting institution. Joseph, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm curious about that complaint there. I don't know if I would have been filing that or anything along those lines. I don't complain too much. But here we go, guys. RGTI.
China did the same thing, right? Like,
Did they do the same thing?
When they filed the 10%, the new 10%.
Okay.
They're trying to get...
So there you go, free trade. Yeah. Okay, guys, here we go in some RGTI, just chopping around in this range. I think at some point the stock is going to pick up some momentum. It's just a matter of when. So you don't compress like this, you don't consolidate like this, and that there's probably going to be a move. We know that from an average true range standpoint that the volatility was really kicking in on from a daily perspective, right? So that expansion of how much the stock moves through a day-to-day basis really picked up when it was in play, and now it has now condensed a little bit and died off. But again, with this price compression from an intraday standpoint, I'm looking to play the break in what direction. If it breaks to the downside and does a liquidity grab on low volume, then I'll just get out. And then if the volume steps into the other side, I'll just hop right back in and see if we can push it to 8.05 or roughly whatever it may be. Now, as for IBIT, it's not looking pretty on this front because we can start to see that we are forming lower highs here as well too. So that's not good. If we can't break through these zones and we're just slowly on the descent. So here we go. Right, that's not a good look and not something that you necessarily want to be a part of, especially when it's descending. So, and with that base right in front of it, so it's looking like it's going to break. We're going to have to put our stop slightly below where that support zone is, right? So around that 50-40 level. Sharif mentioned it earlier, and we mentioned it from time and time again, that you don't want to put your stops in the middle of a zone, right? Because the chance of the stock hitting it are vastly higher and greatly higher. So you want to put it below support zones and then above resistance zones if you're going to play the short. And that's where the risk to reward really comes into play. And I think it's important to understand it. But we got a 99-cent super chat. You see that one? There's no message behind it by Majid Goal
Shorts be ready.
Yeah. What do you say?
Shorts be ready. Look at that.
Shorts be ready. Okay,
yeah.
Shorts be ready. All right, I got pants on, so I gotta get those shorts out here, just in case.
I got trolled here in the summer when I started wearing my shorts. I'm like,
why?
It's hot, man. Toronto in the summer, it's insane amounts of humidity. So like wearing shorts.
Come on, man.
You know what I mean?
You got the desert blood in you, my guy.
Yeah, there's no humidity in the desert, bro.
Yeah, there's no.
It's
dry heat. Yeah,
it's dry heat.
Yeah,
it's like Vegas. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No. I'm kidding. Of course.
But I mean, hey, I love the heat, man. I'm a summer guy, right? And get the nice fits out. That's when the fashion really starts to kick up for your boys. So I like the summer. But here we go, guys. Continuing to just chop around. Price really compressing in the two names that I'm in. Looking for the break. Which way is it going to break? Only time will tell. We need that volume to kick in, and then I think we'll be all right. But if we break the support systems, then we have to get out of the trade and then just look to reassess what's going on and then find a potential nether entry. And it's the same case here in RGTI. It's almost identical price action with two totally different spaces right now. So you can see that we're forming those higher lows. Again, if it breaks it to the south side, potentially liquidity grab, and then we can get out and get back in. But another
he's like a new big spile. Yeah. He's like wants the world to burn. He's like, wait for it.
Did he say anything
before he said never mind?
Never mind. And then he paid another $2. So there. Thank you, Majid. But that's the game plan for me right now, Sharif. We're going to wait to see which way price is going to break on these two names and then just try to follow the price action.
Respect that, man. The OG Gorev, done for the day. Tricky market, but glad I played it well. Going to watch my team, LFC, Liverpool Football Club, take on Paris Saint-Germain shortly. Yeah, my old man's all up on that. Yesterday, Arsenal decimated PSV Eindhoven 7-1 on their turf. So we go, obviously, the Champions League knockout stage just has the aggregate. So we're up 7-1. We play them again next Wednesday on our turf, hopefully adding to the tally. But I do worry about Arsenal going into the next leg of the Champions League, the quarterfinals, because they will play the winner, Neil, of Real Madrid, who has obviously, the most amount of Champions League trophies, and Atletico Madrid. Yesterday, Atleti and Real played, and it was 2-1 on Real soil. We'll see how it ends up being when they play. I forget the name of the stadium that Atleti plays at. Maybe I'll remember it when we get back from Madrid.
Caroline Leavitt, U.S. press secretary, was just asked about the price of eggs and if there's any other tariff exemptions that could take place, like what we saw with the automakers having a 1-month delay for the tariffs to take effect. Caroline Leavitt said that Trump is open and he's willing to do what he thinks is right, but she basically said it's unlikely that's going to happen specifically for eggs. So looks like other tariff exemptions, not for auto, seem unlikely as of this point based on this answer. Back to you.
Yeah, okay, so you guys are saying Wanda oh man, I can't even say it. Metropolitano. It's not anymore. Can you believe they changed their sponsor? It's Riyadh Air Metropolitano. So it's no longer the Wanda one. Shout out to Eddie R. I know that I think it was that way, but now Wikipedia is saying it's Riyadh Air. So it looks like they got a new sponsor. We'll have to see. Not that that makes any difference to me whatsoever, but yeah, that's the name of it. We'll just call it the Metropolitano. That's it. We'll just go with that, guys. Go with that. So watching here the future, this is the look at the NQ March contract. We're still up 115, 120 points on the day, Joseph. We did have an attempt at that 20,600. It rejected. We dipped all the way down to 20,450, but here we go again. We're above 500. We're looking at taking out 525. We could see 550 very soon. It has been a zig and zag type day on these here markets. We started the pre-market up, and then all hell broke loose as we rang the bell. It went negative on the day, down all the way to 20,200 almost, and now we've got a 400 point range essentially since the bell into almost 20,600, with the low being in and around 200. So needless to say, it's been a ziggy-zaggy day, up and down, just really depending on what news headline was coming out at any one moment. But we did not expect any differently. These tariffs have a way of you really bamboozling these markets and making traders a little bit worried. So that's a look there. They just changed it. You are right. Yeah, just Atletico Metropolitano. Cool. I think it's Riyadh Air, brother. That's what Wiki's saying, unless Wiki is wrong. Maybe someone got in there. Yaniv. Rigetti earnings, yes, sir. After the bell, we are expecting Rigetti earnings. Joseph was talking about that earlier. Let's go on to Market Chameleon, one of my websites that I use over here to help me know what to expect in the aftermarket. We talk about the time of the release. We talk about what's it called? The earnings call, the expected move. Let's have a look at what Rigetti knees are heavy. Okay, so let's go on the next page. So we're going to have to go to the next one. All right, Adara, what do you got?
I have more tariff talk here. So there's a specific question coming through for Caroline Leavitt, press secretary of the U.S., basically saying, why did Trump choose to give these exemptions to automakers and not necessarily to larger markets? And why was it only 1 month? So Caroline Leavitt said that's because the reciprocal tariffs will come onto April 2nd, 2025. And by that point, Trump wants no exemption. So it's worth noting, it seems like Donald Trump, based on Caroline Leavitt's remarks, wants all the tariffs to be in effect by April 2nd, 2025. And also the fact that in this month, the goal is so that these automakers will be able to shift their production to the U.S. to avoid tariffs, because that's ultimately the goal. So basically, the reason for this 1 month exception for automakers and the reason it's only 1 month is because April 2nd is going to be a hard cutoff for tariffs to be applied across the board, guys. Back to you.
Thank you for that, Adara. Let's talk about what we're expecting today after the bell. Marvell, guys, reports after the bell today. Their conference call will be at 4:45. A big boy expected move, about 12%, give or take. That could be plus or minus. That's what the options market is expecting. But look at that previous move. So this one has shown its propensity to have outsized move. 23.5% to the high side was the move last time on Marvell. The Zscaler, I was going to use a bad word because I lost money on this one back in the day. 10.5% plus or minus, Joseph. Last time we dipped down about 4.7. So Zscaler, the IT or this cybersecurity name after the bell. But here is Rigetti. Knees are heavy. We're expecting, guys, a plus or minus 16.7% move being expected by the options market. We're going to get the call at 5 o'clock. Last time around, we lost 2%, so definitely not a big move from last time over here. That's what we're expecting after the bell there. Victoria's Secret as well reporting subsequent to the bell. So not the biggest names we've ever heard of, but some stuff there we could definitely use as trade ideas for the next day. So we're doing decent here, not big trade for me on EOSE, but positive, so happy about that. Took what the beak there at 72 multiple times. We're long 70, just took out there at 73s. Let's go ahead and wait at 74s as well. So EOSE up 19 and 4/5, but well off the highs. Let's see if it can work its way back at least maybe into the mid 80s or something like that. We'll extract some more off this bad boy. But yeah, that's quite interesting there. And yeah, what do you think about tomorrow?
About tomorrow.
We tank?
Why? Well,
I don't know. Anything can happen. No.
In the market.
These here markets, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, but the thing is though here. Hold on. Let me get into this. So the thing is here, Sharif, is that we're oversold to some aspect, right? So we're going to talk a little bit about this here. I just think that when you have these big names down double digits, eventually you're going to get that oversold bounce, right? So if you see a heavy put to call ratio, as we were talking about multiple times before, is that like, hey, there's going to be an opposite side of that trade. And if the market makers are on the opposite side of that trade, they don't want too much capital depreciation, right? So that's when you can get those bounces. They start hedging against their positions, etc. So again, just when it's not every week or every month that you see the Mag 7, the top performing companies on the planet, really be down 20%. And not with that, from a contrarian standpoint, is like, okay, we're down 20%, whatever it may be. Is this a buying opportunity? And I think with a lot of names like Google trading around 19 or 20 times forward earnings, then yeah, that's a buying opportunity in my opinion. May take some time to turn around, absolutely. But if you're just patient enough, then I think you'll be sitting pretty, especially in some of these big names, right? Like Amazon down 15, 16%, Google down 16%, 20% at the lows. Meta now getting really banged up and down $100 off of those all-time highs. We'll take a look at that from a percentage metric. It's like, okay, that happened pretty quickly, right? So 15% off of those all-time highs from Meta all the way now recovering a little bit to those lows. So from peak to trough, I guess, from the high to the current low from the past couple of days. And again, so if you can see these names getting at a discount down $100 and not buying them at the highs, then I think you'll be sitting in a pretty place. So yeah, again, don't allocate all at once, just kind of average into the positions and I think you'll do okay. And here we are in some Rigetti. It's looking like these levels that we're using as support levels and our outs are holding up half decently. Joe's cool uncle in the chat. He's in Rigetti as well too. So we like that. If we can pump after the bell, I'm not too sure. I've never personally seen anything happen in this name other than when it was really trending the past month, right? I haven't seen an earnings report. I don't know if it's going to be inside the move, outside the move, or whatever it may be. We just have to be really patient and expect kind of the unexpected. And with that, that's when you become prepared, all right? So there's RGTI slowly crawling towards the resistance zones. We need the volume to kick in. If this was a later hour, like around 3 o'clock or 3:30, I think that if a program kicks in, then yeah, you can start climbing higher. But in order to do so, we just need to be patient, all right? So here's IBIT. Yeah, were you gonna say that?
Yeah. I was gonna mention that.
Yeah.
Nvidia has that. I think it's a week-long conference.
The conference.
I think March 20th. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe Derek can double check the Nvidia conference. Adair, what's the start date on that bad boy? Their last day though, Joseph, it's gonna be a quantum day.
Oh yeah.
And remember what Jensen did to the quantum
space.
Remember,
right?
he's like 30 years, and then the next day, literally.
Well, then after he said that, it pretty
March 17th. Joseph.
March 17th. No, that's it.
17th to
21st. So that's interesting.
Adair.
So, and just to add to that point, Sharif, you can see how that the quantum space was in play, and then Jensen said, hey, we're still about 10 or so years away, or whatever it may be, and then it cooled off, right? It was just like, boom, like the off switch was just turned off. But one thing I like about the quantum space, and a lot of people were getting into the debate about it, was with how does this quantum space affect Bitcoin, right? Because we know that with mining, you need to solve essentially an algorithm. You need to solve this equation and get the right hash. But if a quantum computer can just do it like that instantly, then what's the meaning with that? That means everybody's exposed.
That's what everybody kept saying.
That means everybody is exposed.
That's what everybody kept saying. They're like, quantum is going to hack Bitcoin. You're going to be able to basically unlock the remaining amount of BTCs left. And then Neil and I were talking about this one day. We're like, okay, well, how about these pan dubs? Zscaler, Crowd. what the hell do they do? Does quantum completely change the nature
Well,
of?
you got to modify. You got to grow and adapt.
You
I
have
think.
to.
You have to grow and adapt.
See, I'm assuming, and that's all that it is. I don't know enough to make these pronouncements, but my assumption is that they'll also use quantum computing or cybersecurity. I don't know if anybody, guys in the chat.
With fire.
Yeah. If you guys are IT guys or what's it called, computer science or anything like that, computer engineering, explain to us, can we kind of get a response to quantum computing by these cybersecurity companies? Are they going to be using quantum computing? How do they kind of get around that whole thing? I guess give it some time, and then we'll get back from Adair.
Just be aware here that the press conference held by Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt is now over. That press conference has concluded. One of the biggest, I just want to let you guys know that any kind of turmoil from this conference is now done as the conference has ended. But again, just to recap, the biggest thing here was Caroline Leavitt did confirm that automakers, specifically a lot of these big three automakers, are going to be exempt from tariffs from Canada and Mexico until April 2nd. Why April 2nd? Because at that point, April 2nd, 2025, that's when the reciprocal tariffs will come in, and Trump wants zero exemptions at that point. So it sounds like any and all exemptions will end and all tariffs will be coming into effect on April 2nd, 2025. That was the main highlight of this event there, guys. Back to you.
That's insane. The
FaceTime.
Chilean Nightmare is telling us about this stuff, and it's bending my mind. Let's see what some people in the chat have to say here about the question. The OG Darwin. From what I know, BTC blockchain can be upgraded to resist quantum, not a pro. Bobby Posey. Quantum will be the end of the human race, LOL. Clover. So BTC would be zero one day. Cactus Jacks, love the name, by the way, dude. Love the name. Yeah, all the banking system gone. BK SFLY. 10 years is actually 2 in quantum years. That's literally what Fabian was just telling us. He's like, dude, it changes the perception of time and that whole shebang there. Yeah, that's a look. Go ahead.
Sorry, did you see what Cactus Jack said here?
Go ahead.
So quantum Bitcoin in the form of a fork is being worked on along with new advancements in quantum. So that's really interesting. So a fork, you're familiar with crypto forks? So that's what Bitcoin Cash is. So Bitcoin Cash and then Ethereum Classic was the original Ethereum, but then the current Ethereum is a fork of Ethereum Classic. So what it is when you have the ability to take over like 90% of a block or a chain or something along those lines, is when you can construct that fork. It gets a little bit more, it gets more complicated. So that's why Bitcoin Cash and then there's Bitcoin.
That's really
right?
interesting. Man, there's a whole lot of stuff that I don't know here that I need to apprise myself of. Time to go back to cash, says DJ Max. Here goes the high of the day right now, though, on the future.
Here we go, man.
We're about to break the high of the day, boys and girls. Here we go. Well, technically not the overnight high. That's at 629, but we are going to take this local high here, and we're on our way to 20,600. Guys, we were down at 20,200 today. What a recovery on the market. We're technically up now on the NQ 0.95. Could go 1% by the time this show is over, which is in 2 minutes. Great recovery on the market today, but it's an inside day technically. So when you look at today's price action from the high and the low, we are ensconced by yesterday's highs and lows. Yesterday we got up to about 20,730 with the low being at around 20,000. Wow, we had a wider swing yesterday than today, and today fell awfully wide as well. So good recovery on the market. I'm sure the big boys will have more to say about the Mag 7 as we come in to the day's highs. Keep your eye out on that 20,629 area. That is the area top there. I got stopped out of the last remaining amount here on my EOS trade. We were able to extract some profits to the high side, but it does end up giving up the ghost at 64. It's kind of a bamboozler there. I got to tell you the truth, because it was putting in higher highs and higher lows. So I wonder what happened. But MLGO is all the rave right now. Right back into that high day, and in fact making a new high day, 532 HOD. It's showing me 33s now on the ask, so that high day is in question, up 27%. Very, very consistent name. With higher highs and higher lows, you were able to pick it up off predictable areas. It was showing you where the buyers were stepping in. It was showing you where the sellers were selling up a storm. And I hope people printed well on this today. Joseph,
Yeah.
Leave them with some final thoughts.
Divine Florist, was that sarcasm or was it not? I'm just curious to know. So IBIT, guys, breaking out, looking really well. We got Rigetti after the bell as well, too, guys. So we're going to be keeping an eye out on that one, and we're slowly breaking out on this name. Guys, we know the volatility in the market is here, and it is very clear. So make sure that you guys put in those.
You're having a special guest.
Oh, who's that? Oh, okay, all right. Oh, Fabian, yeah. So make sure you guys have those stops in place, right? And downsize until you get comfortable with those wider stops, guys. Let's see what the big boys are up to.
What are you up to, Fabian?
I'm just the substitute trader right now, you know, waiting
Substitute
for Mr. Katina to get back here.
You're going to want to put the screens on if you're going to be a
that might be
substitute
helpful.
trader up in there. But you don't need to look at screens to see the market is bouncing here today. A lot has made it higher. I have a weird echo in my ear.